Oh,
sharpened.
see him this weekend.
Pardon me?
I said, I'm going up to see him and his wife this weekend with my neighbor.
Oh, good, good.
We're going to trade some wood. It's a 9-hour drive from my house, but we're going up Friday and coming back on Sunday.
It's a 9-hour drive from Tampa?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a long ways.
Yeah, I asked somebody one time where Tampa, how far it was to get to Tampa. I was building some stores in Pensacola and the next one where I can't think of, Panama City. And the guy said, well, as tired as you'd be from driving to Panama City, you'd be that much more tired going to Tampa City. It's way down there. But it's so interesting.
It's about 4.5 hours from our house.
Yeah. It's so scenic. I mean, you're looking at marsh grass all the way. Scott Hampton says it's fall colors in the Sierras are finally showing. All right. Hey, Scott, good to see you, sir. Picking up a couple of our, so I want to say regular, but our regular folks will be with us. I think I just got a note from Tim Hatch. He's going out partying. He probably won't see us. Yeah, I think that's it. I get these texts all the time, but if I hadn't said this before, I'm not married to this anymore. Really not. That's by doctor's orders, and I'm really enjoying it. It can sleep all day right there, all day and all night right there on my desk. I'll come in once or twice a day and check messages. The only thing that's important on that phone is talking to my wife, and she's with me 90% of the time. If she goes off, I have to have it turned on, I have it in my pocket or whatever. But it's liberation. It really is. I'm just so tired of every place I go and everybody I see has got to have a freaking phone in their hand or talking to somebody as they sit around at the recreational pool or the PT pool in the daytime. You're in a hot tub or next to a hot tub or a cold dip or whatever, and you have your earphones in and you're looking at your phone, right? You're watching a movie, a game, or whatever. I don't know anybody whose life is that important that you can't block out some time just for you, just you. I love it when people bring their kids to swimming class. It's done in the same PT pool as we go. And they're all sitting on the side. You can tell that their parents are like us. You know, oh yeah, you're missing through how to swim. I have a very old man from my part of the world over here that is in PT every day. He's 84, 85 years old. And he does it every day to get his mobility and keep going. He says he loves to see him over there and they go splashing by him. Make him nervous. Yeah.
Brenda's signing in.
Who's that?
I said, Brenda's signing in.
Oh, Brenda's here. All right. David, I think you're hooked up, sir.
I am hooked up. I'm a little confused at the moment, not because of anything that's going on here, but I'm away from my normal place and I tried to get on at first and everything went wrong. So just in the last minute or so, I was able to get set up and we're recording now.
Good. All right.
And I hope everybody's doing great. I've been away from my lathe, so I haven't done much this week.
Ah.
I hope to be back by next Wednesday. I don't mean here next Wednesday. I mean back to turning on the lathe on Wednesday next week. Till then, I'm going to be away from my security blanket. Is that what I'm allowed to call it?
Yeah, you can do that. Oh, now I have it. Okay. Had a glitch in the button. I was trying to put Brenda on as a co-host. That's what we do around here.
Hi, guys.
And
Hi, Brenda.
hey, I'm not going to tell them what you told me last week, Brenda. Okay, I'm not going to say a word about it. I mean, if you don't want to get up off your butt and come turn on the computer, that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, I had to climb the steps, man. I was just tired, lazy.
To me, the drawback on having a two-story house, it's steps.
Yes, yes. I'm getting the winter blues, I think, already. Don't want to do nothing.
You should be
You're
down here.
retired, you don't have to.
Well,
That's
this
true.
is true. This is true.
It was 84 down here today.
84. Wow.
I don't think we hit
Way
60
too cold.
and it rained. I turned the heat back on today, as a matter of fact.
Reprogram my laptop to my iPad.
Got that,
I
Eddie.
gotta go back and find it. Go back and find another server up. I bought one of those scribe pens to write on the screen, and I had reprogram, reboot, a couple other things. I just so hey, we're gonna take one more item out of my world. So and of all things in diet I'm on, a little while ago, I sat down and my wife said something about dinner. I said, let's go to Chun Li. I've been trying to remember the name of that restaurant for 6 months. It's been closed for a long, long time, since before I had my tumor. And I just don't know why it popped into my head, but I was so sitting there and she says, you want Oriental food? And I said, no, not really. I can't eat it, but it just sounded like a good place to go for a moment. When we drive along and reminisce over places we used to be able to go get dinner, etc. It means I'm saving money, not eating out.
So what's everybody been doing? What have I missed?
You missed my tiny little box.
You made a box?
I had started a box about a month ago, and I put on there, how would you like to see half a project? And everybody laughed.
I think so, yes.
Because the box broke in half. Well, I glued it back together, and here it is, Brenda.
I love that.
It's 3 inches tall and 2 inches.
And the top comes off?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
It's an 1/8 inch thick.
Nice.
So, yep, I made a little box. But
That is gorgeous.
Thank you. I didn't do anything this week. This was last week, but yeah, I had fun.
I love that.
Well, thank you.
I love the shine. Nice and smooth.
3408.
Yeah, I was gonna say you put 3408 on it, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Brenda, she's heading out to see the king of 3408 next week or this week.
Yeah, this weekend, Friday.
Oh yeah, you're going to his house this time, huh?
Yeah, well, my next door neighbor wanted to go, and we're going to be trading wood and stuff, and then we're coming back down. He said it's a 9-hour trip from Largo to where he is, And that's a long trip for only a day. We're flying up, well, we're driving up on Friday, coming back on Sunday. But it'll be fun. And I get to meet his wife and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be fun.
Cool. Cool.
He wanted some stuff that just grows in Florida. So,
Okay.
well, it grows other places in the South, but it doesn't grow around Atlanta.
You mean after all the storage buildings of wood he's got, there's more wood that he don't have?
Yeah, he wants some Norfolk pine
Wow.
and he wants camphor.
Mm.
So we got him a couple of pieces of camphor. You know, he kind of thought that hurricane really hit us hard, but really nothing came down in this area. We had a few little branches, but that was about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
So basically, we're hitting our current supply that we have, figuring that we'll get more in the future.
Yeah. It'll come down someday.
Yep.
It's all going to come down eventually.
Sue, is there
Sister's saving me wood too. Hey,
Sue,
Jim.
is there a rosewood from down in that area that native?
You know, I don't know. I had heard there was, but I really don't know.
I did turning at a college the other day, and it was ran by a guy from St. Petersburg. He runs bowls for good, and he said, "I'll bring you a piece of wood," and he brought me a 12 by 12 by 2, and he says it's native rosewood to that area around St. Pete, Tampa. So I just wondered.
It's very possible. It's very possible. I had the jacaranda come down. It's pretty green yet, but I might make the birdhouse out of that because it's about 4 inches round.
Very often people are surprised about how many woods can be classified as a rosewood. And they're worldwide. I don't know enough about the genus of species or anything. I remember I was in a wood store, like wasn't Woodcraft or one of those places. It was just a big local store in Memphis. And I asked the guy for some rosewood. He pointed at a rack, and there was a whole rack full of different woods. They were all rosewoods. And it was fun to shop there. It really was. I can't be turning right now, but look, that's what I've been making, Brenda. See that?
Yep.
Good fit too. I mean, I finally got all the math down right.
Goodness.
So I've been making a whole pile of them, different sizes to, that's going to be my Christmas gathering right there. Some will hold the trinket, some will hold the credit card. Who's lucky?
Take a credit card.
Well, you could always put pips and flocking on it and make yourself some fuzzy dice.
But I didn't think about that. That is because it's a cool idea. You know, I think my wife has a smocking gun. It looks like a little airbrush, and it's got a second little port that blows out the stuff. I have to see if I can grab that from her and try it. I have no idea why she has it. She's a quilter, but unfortunately, she's got more toys and crap in her studio than I got in my shop. Which is funny. The other day, I needed some regular plain old masking tape, and I went to the hardware store looking for it. They didn't have the plain. All they had was this blue stuff, and for what I'm using it for with the laser, the blue stuff doesn't work quite as good as plain masking tape. And she was with me. She has to bring me there. And I was describing what she wants, and we have five or six rolls of that up in the studio. You know, like when we were in business, we used to use that 2-inch wide packing tape to seal up packages and bundles and all that. And buy the case at Sam's store. And I figured, well, that'd be one less expense we have. And I saw the Sam's invoice come in the other day. We bought another 6 rolls. Didn't realize that all this time it's been going into quilt projects for her. She'll lay it. She'll put the pattern down on a piece of newspaper or those are the catalogs you get in the mail every day, the spam junk, and then she'll tape them all together from the backside, and then sew the whole thing together. Leave the paper and all in there because it makes for packing, just like that nap or whatever they put in does. And you
Hey,
wash it
Jim?
one time, it's soft. Pardon?
I looked up the Indian rose tree that grows so well in Florida. It is an Indian rosewood. The name of it is Dalbergia sisu, and it grows well in Florida. But the common name is Indian rosewood.
That 12 by 12 piece he gave me is heavy. It's really dense.
Okay. There's a picture of it at the University of Florida online. So, but yeah, evidently they grow quite well in Florida. And they were showing the value of a tree. We're talking down here when they cut them down, people don't know what they are, and they grind them up and put them in a landfill. But a tree can be worth between $2,000 and $10,000 if you cut it up and sell the wood.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get Cocobolo out of Mexico. That was before Hurricane Katrina, when we had regular movement back and forth of workers. And coming back, they'd bring a load of Cocobolo and a few other woods, and they were hitting the lumber yards in the area, and they'd buy about a pound. And it was easy for them to get past customs if hauling something to look like it was for sale than if they weren't. That was their story. So, all right, tonight, as I said earlier, we'll be doing tips and tricks and looking for a full house. Doug, I got you signed on as a co-host. Dave Rose, co-host. Brenda, Sue, and Gary in Oklahoma City is joining us tonight to help with the program, or the meeting, pardon me. And that's good. Doug, okay.
Yes, sir.
Doug, you got two systems going tonight?
I sure do.
Okay. All right.
So I can keep track of folks coming in easier.
All right. Just so you pop it back up there again.
Doug, that burl ball that you did turned out really nice.
Well, thank you. That's one of the things I'm going to show you tonight. Let everybody get a up close and personal kind of look.
Look forward to it.
I'm really going to be happy when I get it.
Did you put your address up first?
I'm number 18 or 17, something like that.
That random comment picker it does funny things sometimes, but yeah, that's how we're going to do it.
I get a lot of things in the mail that you don't expect. You know that? But this week I received one of those little Here it is here. Jump drives, a little USB port drive. I received one this week from Roger Willam, Wollam, out of Cahokia, Missouri, and it included and has on it a PowerPoint demonstration on how to set up for segment turnings. All right. Dave, can we put that up on a website somehow?
We can try. I think we can.
All right. I want to mail it.
Yeah, great.
I want to mail it to you. It's like 75,000 bytes or whatever. He couldn't email it to me. And I got it in the other day and got a chance to look at it. I really like, the detail he went into, and it's going to help. It's going to help wood turners just in beginning turners or turners that haven't done segmented work. There's a lot of tips and tricks to that art, and if you don't appreciate it, it's a ton of math. It really is the planning and plotting out the differences. And I mean, we've seen some gorgeous work in the last couple of weeks or months from folks that are doing that type of turning, and getting those patterns to work out sometimes can be hard. We had a turner in a club I belonged to, and she was a math professor at a university, and she could just click along and draw them with no problem. I mean, just lay it all out, and you say, "Honey, she got that." And she managed to be all the segments to be side grain, which is unique, because then you get to see the all the grain instead of the end, just like the sponge end of wood. And it was a very good demonstration. The hierarchy at the club said that's a little technical for some of our members. To me, it was a good starting grounds. That's all there is. It was just a good starting grounds. There's a lot to planning out. I think last week we were talking about finials, and I had a guy, Richie, he's in our club, call me because I was ranting and raving about using graph paper. And he was cleaning out his desk drawer at work. I think Richie retired. He didn't say why he was cleaning out. But he'd been there 42 years. So I thought he was getting out. And he found some graph paper, brought it home with him. And as he was laying out a piece that day, he thought, wait, let me get the graph paper and lay this down full size. How I want the outside of the bowl to be shaped and all that. Because he said, looking down on it, on the lathe, he couldn't get the contours to work out. He wanted an OG, but then he wanted a flared nipple on his, and then an undercut on the lip and all. And he says, when you're looking at it over the top on a lathe, I have a hard time trying to figure out how it looks. Well, yeah, you your vision a little bit. So he sat down and drew his piece out just like he thought it would be on the piece of graph paper, and then he used that graph paper to go in the shop and turn the piece happy as can be. Happy, because he just saw that it's like building a house. You have to have a plan. And I worked for a contractor 40, 50 years ago that said the first step in building a house is put a stake in the ground. That means decide where it's going to go. Second steps, decide what you're going to build. Don't go building it unless you know where it's at, where you're going to put it, and what it's going to be. And that's the graph paper helps you out with that. I see some other folks popping in here. One of our can't see the name now. All right, got Doug in to help us with the meeting tonight. I see Billy Dillard's in tonight. Good evening, Billy.
Hello, everyone. Everyone's doing well.
How'd that show go for you, Billy?
We did really well. That's the first time we've had a Rougarou festival in 3 years. So it was like the weather was unbelievable. So everybody and their brother was out. So yeah, we did really well.
Good.
Probably our best craft show ever. It was 3 days, though. That was the problem. Friday night was not much going on, but Saturday was unbelievable.
And you said, would you say Rougarou?
It's called Rougarou. It's a Halloween themed type event. So you see a lot of different kinds of people.
Yeah. I heard about it on Channel 8 in New Orleans, and they could not say Rougarou.
It's actually our version of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Rougarou.
It's like when you hear those out of town announcers talking about Matari. You know, they can't say Metri. Yeah, I don't know if this hits you on hard tonight, but Vinnie Mosca, the former mayor of Harahan, has passed away.
It's great. It's really good. They screwed up on one.
All right, sorry. Somebody's got their mic really cooking here. There it is. All right. See, Matt Harber's in. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, Eddie. Yeah, I'm on the road, so.
Oh, okay.
Not at home, not in the shop, so unfortunately. But I hope I don't fall asleep because I've been working hard all day. But yeah, I wouldn't miss the tool, the tool tip. That's what this is, right?
Tips and tricks. That's what it is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I had a couple of folks ask me, could I record it so they can play it back later? I didn't want to ask them where you at, but you know, our master webmaster does that every single week, and this program is being recorded now on at least 3 recorders, and we post that to our website.
That's right. How do you not know that?
I don't know. But we do it each week. It's a labor of love. Everybody here does this for the fun of it and putting entertainment value. There's not a nickel to be made in this business. And I'm proud of that because it shows that we have people that are involved in what we do, and they encourage people to get involved and bring them out. That's what we've been here. And I know the name I saw up in because my screen keeps changing on me here. But
Eddie, you're cutting out, so I can't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I know.
What's that?
I thought it was me, but it's him. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're cutting out so bad I can't understand what you're saying.
I on a good screen tonight, a good wireless tonight.
Bandwidth issue.
Oh well, I'm not on it all now.
What?
See him.
Something about wireless. That's all I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Billy, that's it.
Maybe you better go back to T-Mobile.
No, I will not be going back to T-Mobile. No.
Wonder what it would cost to run a wire from Harahan to there. They got great Wi-Fi at Harahan. That's the other side of the river, right? I don't know.
Harahan's a mile upriver from me.
Yeah.
And too close. I see.
That's an inside joke for Louisiana. What's the deal?
It's kind of like it's like pulling a scab off. He don't like Harahan. It's too close.
Harahan's never gave a resident a speeding ticket. Everybody else gets one, but if you live in Harahan, you don't get one.
Oh, it's that kind of town. Okay.
Oh yeah, they got a great revenue source there.
I got one in Golden Meadow.
Yep.
Golden Meadow. Wow, that's how they existed for years.
I know.
Really
I was part of the payment.
$35 mile-an-hour zone, just out of nowhere. Poof.
Yep. How did that tree grow up in front of that sign?
You turn that corner and went right straight to 35. Boom.
Yep.
Hey, Eddie, I was wandering through our YouTube channel and watched some of our back episodes again. And we haven't seen Ronnie in a while, and I hope he's okay.
I haven't spoke of them I think I looked at my wife asked me that this morning. I looked at my log and I hadn't spoke with them in almost 2 weeks. I tried calling them. We were on the road and I was using her phone and I couldn't get through. But I see some Facebook stuff referring to them. So I was all right. Tomorrow I'll make another attempt to get through to him.
Yeah, I think we all miss him.
It's my fault.
Yep.
What'd you say, Susan?
I said we all miss him.
Yeah.
Once he got that laser engraver, that was my fault. He likes it.
You know, Bill, I really didn't want to say it like that, Billy, but you know, that's just how it went.
That's okay.
Yeah, him and I were going back and forth. I bought the X3 laser a couple of months ago, and I got it for a gift. And I'd call him and say, "Look, how do you adjust this and this and this?" And we'd go back and forth about height of the laser and all that. And some wasn't making any sense to me. I got the 4604, and he got the next step up. And the radical difference. Mine cuts better than his does, but his is more versatile than mine. And you know, so last time we chatted, I was trying to figure something out, and I said, "Wait a minute. Tell me what yours looks like." And that's when we discovered, you know, if I knew what he'd got because I'd seen some of the work, I would have copied it or stole it, one of the two. But he actually liked it. He's had some health issues with his legs, so he doesn't stand at the lathe as much as anymore. But my wife says the lathe is better for me than sitting on my butt in front of the computer. Well, you know, might be. Scott has got some 4-corner towns that have the same kind of speed traps in them. Yeah, it's and they're little and they get you, and the only way out of it's to pay it. Because if you say I want to go to court and contest this, you got to go a million miles out of your way to get over there to contest it.
And then it costs you more anyway.
Yeah, I got popped on one of those go-kart things on the side of the road up about 3 hours from home years ago. And my wife said, "Just tell me you weren't speeding." And I said, "No, you don't understand. There's nobody to tell. You got to wait until they decide to set a court date. And then you have to go back and appear in person. And if you go there and appear in person and they don't have the deputy there to make witness to what was on the machine, you have to go back. So it's just this thing. Send us the money and get off the hook." So
in our state, if you pay it, go to the courthouse and pay it, it's cheaper. Because if you go to court, you pay court costs and library fees.
yeah, you do. Yeah.
It almost doubles it.
What a racket.
Mm-hmm. The reservation up where I live has it even better. They set a car out in front. You start following it and matching its speed. Squad car, Indian police comes up behind you, and no white man wants to go into Indian court around here.
If you find it here and you go to court, the judges, they'll sometimes actually raise your fine just for inconveniencing the court.
Yeah. They have a lot of latitude. We gave it to them. New Orleans has got a serious crime problem. I mean, it's 2 miles away to New Orleans from me, and it's the major news. The major thing is it's terrible in that city. and we don't travel in it unless we have to. Just traveling in it's not safe.
Get shot on the interstate.
But yeah, but the mayor's got a great way to overcome it. She leaves town. She just goes to conference to conference to conference to conference, on behalf of her job. That's fair. But then she's got another real way to save money in the city. She's going to reduce the funding onto the police department, so we'll have a lot of money in a town that's getting robbed to death. I guess it's a program that'll work.
Got to pay for her travel and conferences somehow.
Yeah. Oh, hey, they caught her. The news caught her where she gets first class fare on airlines, but by the rules of her administration, she's not required or benefits first class fare. She has to fly by the lowest fare available. And I think right now she owes about $30,000 to the city for the trips that she made that were not condoned.
Yeah, good luck with that.
They're going to garnish her wages. Yeah. They're on it. They
Good.
are on it. Man.
Good.
Well, Eddie, I had a video crew at my house today.
Video crew? What'd you do wrong?
Video crew. The company that I'm making these pins for sent a videographer, a 4-man videographer crew, and they spent about an hour and a half in my shop today. Yeah, it was interesting.
Did you know they were coming?
Yeah, they had asked me, and
okay, you got a chance to clean before they got there.
Oh no, well I'm kind of like, this is a working shop. This is not that kind of shop. I'm having to turn out 50 pins a week. I can't clean up, but I straighten up. Just like yeah. So I turned a couple of pins from scratch, and we put the finish on. They were amazed with the Parfex finish. That's what I was using, was a Parfex finish, but a satin finish. We didn't want to buff it too much, but it had just enough on it to still look like wood, and you could still feel the wood. So yeah, it was interesting.
Very cool. Very cool.
How are we making out on the count on the pins? You're ahead of schedule?
Yes, I'll have 100 done, and I'll be assembling 50 tomorrow. So yes, we're ahead of schedule. I'm planning on having half done before Thanksgiving. So that's the plan. I got till March.
Right.
The wood is beautiful.
You have it till March. I thought it was. You're doing them all out of sycamore?
Yeah, they wanted a Hurricane Ida wood, and that was the wood that I had. And the more I cut it, the prettier it was. And I had sent them a sample of it, and they said they really liked that. So
nice.
Yes.
Sycamore gets so much character. It's unbelievable.
The same piece of wood. I mean, from the outside to the inside of the limb itself changes. And some of it was spalting, so I got a spalting on top of that. So man, it's like really, yeah.
And what's amazing is if you look at a plank of it and you think that one look nice pens, give it a break. Saw it into the pen blanks and then look at it. I mean, it radically changes.
I don't know. It looks like, some of it looks like snake skin, and then it goes from that to the spalting grain, and then the fat wood. It's amazing.
Well, like it, I did a cowboy hat out of sycamore maybe 10, 12 years ago, and it went to an auction for a public broadcast station. And when I brought it in, it was in a hat box. Because then when anything happened to it, I got a call from the director of the station wanting to know, can he buy it before it goes to the gallery? And I said, the hat came to the station. What y'all do with it is your business, but no. If it's up to me, you can buy it through the auction, just like everybody else, because we get a chance to have somebody else outbid you. And it went to the auction.
That's good.
So, did he end up winning that auction?
Nope, he sure didn't. I know one of the big sponsors of the program owned an auction house, and he's got it. It's sitting in the lobby of the auction house as one of his displays. Doesn't have a price on it. He wanted it. So, but that station or that network doesn't do the auctions. They stopped it about that year, the year after management change. I would try to turn 15 to 20 pieces a year to give to them on the ornamental lathe and some artwork on the big lathe and all, because it was going for a good cause. Public broadcast stations don't have advertisers. They look for gratuities or benefits or sponsors or whatever to keep the program going. And this was one of the ways to do it. I see stuff in the chat tonight. I don't know who started it, and I see Scott jumped on it, and a few others. Somebody had a question about a lathe, and he says, I have an opportunity to get a one-way 1640 at an estate auction. Is this a worthwhile lathe? That's from Ward Wilson. Ward, don't pass it up.
That's right.
Do not pass it up, Ward.
Gonna need some
My
help picking
lathe
it up,
came out of a you will, yeah. Bring a mule. Mine came from an estate sale, and it went for a lot of money because it was still. Now, I know a Turner is not bragging. He's not bragging either. He's got 6 one-way 2436s in his workshop for teaching and different projects, and he's bought them all through estate sales. He has a administrative assistant at his office that uses the estate sales and online to purchase items for the company, equipment, tools, and all that. And that's on her goal, is to find them. And wherever they find them at, he's got a way. He'll get them shipped down, get them refinished, refurbished, but never mechanically refurbished, mechanically refinished. He gets the appearance improved. They all look like they came off the floor in Toronto. They do. And like mine, I started to change the bearings on it just because it had seen some work, and I pulled it down and took the bearings down to the bearing place down the street from us. And the guy looked at it, he says, I got to order these. We don't normally stock bearings this good. I said, what? That was a top of the line bearing place. I know I took them the bearings out of a Jet Mini, 1014 Jet Mini. Bearings went out. A guy in a club I belong to used it for a demonstration one weekend at some auction or some show or whatever, and he horsed it too hard and he damaged the bearings. And I took him down and said, I want to get a set of bearings. And the guy says, just like this? I said, just like that. And he said, we don't normally carry these crappy little things. I could do a little bit better for you on this is bad. They're not made to last long. You're just made to last until your payments are made. But we stepped up in that one. And that lathe is, I gave it away almost 20 years ago. It's still running good. The guy makes pool cues on it. We extended the bed. There's 3 extensions on the bed, stabilizers for the extensions. There's 3 or 4 tool rest on slides. Because when he gets into, he does them in sections, then he puts them together and screws them out. The abuse that thing sees is amazing. Still runs like a top. We converted it to use a treadmill motor for a drive motor because it had variable speed, and I didn't know when we did it that it would step up to about like 5,000 RPMs. But he loves it when he's doing the finishes. Like you 3408 users know, you put the finish on and then you improve it as you go. And that's by buffing it out and polishing it, and and getting rid of all the little divots in the lights. And that's how you get a great finish, look clear as glass and sparkle like a diamond, is to get those parts done. He loves to spin them and go through. He goes through with it. Vomax? is that the polish you use on that, Brenda?
Perfects.
What is it?
Perfects. Or
No,
Vonex.
the Vonex. Yeah, Vonex.
And
Yeah,
then
and then
Vonex, you use the
Wax. Carnauba wax.
yeah. But when he spins them, I've stood there and watched him spin them, and it's just, I mean, it looks like I'm looking at a glass rod in front of me. I mean, it is gorgeous. And he's so happy we can get up to that kind of speed because that's where the polishing comes from. He doesn't need as much product as he does application fabric because he uses like a nap to polish him out. So, all right. Doug Mill is going to do gallery tonight. And I'm confused about that. So I missed. I'm looking at, Ron says, I'm looking at the Powermatic because of the sliding headstock and my bad back. Go with the bad back. Don't buy anything else. Get up on it and make sure it's the right height, Ron. Because if you're stooping over or looking up, it's going to be hard on you. So cock your arm and the elbow, check the height from the bottom of the elbow to the floor. Use that height to determine your lathe, because lathes heights are set based upon that dimension only. And because I had a good friend of mine that called me because when he was turning, the next day he was so stiff he couldn't move. And I went over to help him one day, and I watched him turn for about an hour, and I ended up putting him on a sleeper about 2 inches high, 2.5 inches high, a door plus some shims. And then he called me the next day and he said, wonderful. I have no aches and pains. He was twisting his body to fit the lathe. And I said, nope, just going to make a platform. And the next time I went over, he raised the whole area around the lathe so he wouldn't be stepping on or off anything. And he had it right. And that's the height that the next lathe went to. All right, got about 70 folks in the house right now. Welcome everybody. If you'd like to chat, go ahead and chat. If your mic is open and we hear background sounds from TV or whatever, we try to silence them back out. And that's the only reason. We don't want to not talk to you. I don't want to hear what's going on in Jeopardy or the news or whatever. But if you'd like to chat, press the space bar that unmutes you and just say hi, I want to talk. Or you can go to the chat.
You froze up. Yep.
Got cold in New Orleans all of a sudden, evidently. He froze.
Yeah. It happens.
No, not in New Orleans.
Not very often, that's for
it's
sure.
snowing here again today, so.
Man, it got down to 70 degrees here. Well, actually got in the 60s today.
Goodness.
Hey, Matt, where are you since you're on the road?
I am in northern Lower Michigan for business reasons near Kalkaska, Michigan.
Okay, are you in a cabin?
I am in a house that is all wood logs. So I don't know. Let me see if I can. It's a pretty neat place.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fireplace.
Yeah, the fireplace doesn't work, but
Beautiful fireplace like that, and it's snowing and it don't work.
Well, we're hoping to get it working by the time it gets deep. So.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Looking place though.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So it's very comfortable. I like houses like this with wood, framed in wood and stuff is my favorite kind of place. So it's cool.
Yeah, understand that.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it's all logs. So it's I don't know who constructed it or how, it's not that old. So it was made by a log house company. So it's really nice. So some big wood. But they do that up here. So, I mean, not everybody.
Was that your place there, Matt?
It's actually my ex-wife's.
Okay.
So you paid for it. She just gets it.
No, it's she owns it, and it's when I'm up here working for her company, I get to stay in it. It's complicated.
Yeah.
All right.
But there's no lathe up here, so.
Oh, that's bad.
You need a mini lathe you can carry with you.
I have one, but it's in my shop. It's got my Bill Buff system on it, so and it's sort of my travel lathe for demos when I travel. So I'm not setting it up here permanently because I use it down there. So
buy you another one.
Yeah. Buy some of my gnomes. Help me fund the extra lathe.
I seen those on Facebook today.
Yeah, they're fuzzy. I had one of my Facebook friends is a redhead, and she commented on the post and said, "No gingers," and I was like, "Boy, I should have thought of that."
That's a good idea.
I got some red fur in my Amazon cart right now, so it'll happen. I'm getting geared up to do snowmen too, so I was making snowmen yesterday.
Just asking, you shall receive, right?
That's exactly what I wrote. So
Go outside to make the snowman.
I'm making them in the lathe too.
A lot warmer that way, huh?
Yep. Yeah, it's yeah.
I don't like the cold weather.
It's one of those things that you get used to, and you gotta dress for it, But I got those big dogs and those big Malamutes, and they have to be run all the time, every day. So, I got to be out in it. So, I gotta, figure out how to make it work.
Couldn't do it. Get fat and lazy like me.
Well, a 185-pound dog who loves running in the snow, insists on kind of forces you into things.
Yeah, you don't tell them no, do you?
No, as a matter of fact, I had somebody ask me how good is he at following commands, and I'm like, well, he's more of a takes requests and sometimes complies kind of guy. So. Yeah, they're pretty smart, so it's like, and they usually do what we ask them to do, but if there's a rabbit or something, you're hanging on for dear life. So, or spooks a deer out of the woods or something. Had an encounter with 4 or 5 deer on the walk the other night. Boy, that was entertaining.
I bet.
Thank goodness for T-Mobile. Thank goodness for T-Mobile.
Hey, he's back.
He's back.
Hello, Ken.
Don't look happy either.
Oh, I just love T-Mobile. I'm going to write them about it and tell them how much I love them. This is the only piece of equipment in this house hardwired to the tower, and it says overload. So, I mean, there's no TVs. My wife isn't here. Not to be her fault, but she's not here.
So it can't be overloaded then, huh?
Nope, sure can't.
Wouldn't think so.
And they would say, "Oh, it might be a global situation for your area." Hey, I'm just south of Harahan. We don't have global. I'm sorry I disappeared, folks, and I was just now running through my iPhone to get back on until it reestablished, because it wouldn't reestablish on a hard line.
How's your blood pressure right now?
Wow.
Pardon me?
How's your blood pressure right now?
Wrong day. I have to go see Aaron tomorrow, my doctor. And this is not the day to have this happen.
Yeah.
You sure recover fast.
Okay, let me tell you real quick what happened to me today. My blood pressure got up a little bit too. I decided to get out of the house and go shopping. And coming home, coming back into town, traffic gets all backed up on the highway. Speed limit's 55. Traffic's all backed up behind a tractor. I counted 25 people in front of me. Before I got up to the tractor, there was 35 of us or more. We got into town and the road splits off into 4 lanes, right? And the tractor gets over to the left. Everybody starts going around him on the right? I get up around him on the right. I pulled over in front of him and slowed down. Slowed down to about 20. Followed him all the way into town until he pulled over into some little shop. I got out, talked to him, and he went on into the store, ignored me. So I went into the store and talked to him. Told him, I said, when a slow moving vehicle goes down the road, you get several cars behind you. It's common courtesy to pull over, let them go around you, right? He just looked at me. I said, and then you get up to the four-way. I said, and you get over to the left. I said, that's the speed lane, not the slow lane. I wasn't too happy.
Now, you use that term common courtesy. Let's not throw that around too easy,
Hey, yeah, that's a dangerous word anymore.
Common's not very
Brenda, you
common.
need to come drive in Houston. I mean, you'd love it.
No.
No. You're going to have to know what common courtesy is.
I've heard about Houston drivers.
And I'm not a person that does well with confrontation like that. Oh, my blood pressure was up. My head was hurting. My body was shaking. But I had to stop that guy and explain to him, 30 people behind him. Come on.
Well, Brenda, you wouldn't like it here because all tractors and farm equipment have the right of way.
Well, yeah, so I understand that most of the time, but good Lord.
They can do whatever they want on the roads. You have to deal with it. It doesn't matter. And I live in an agricultural area, so it's certain times of the year, it's always like that.
Yeah, you get those guys driving combines around or hay wagons or something. There's no passing. Everybody has to get off on the side of the road and get out of the way.
Exactly.
It makes me mad.
I see.
Can you see that?
We had no idea, Brenda.
Yeah, I got a little upset.
Well, I will say that what you did has been through my head too. So, there's a lot of that in a lot of places. Spending a lot of time on the road this year.
All he did was just shake his head at me.
Wow.
And I just said, well, and you have a nice day.
You didn't say bless your heart to him, did you?
No, I should have. But anyway, he knows now.
No, he doesn't.
Well, he probably knew beforehand, and
he doesn't care.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. He's a
Pretty
farmer.
much hit it.
Yeah, farmer. They think they're on the roads.
Okay, Matt, I got a question for you.
I live for your questions. You know that.
Yeah, you had posted on Facebook, or someone did, and you answered about the whiskey smokers. Somebody was making some little whiskey smokers. And I was looking for that little metal insert. Do you know anybody that sells that little piece? I don't need anything but that little piece, I want to make some.
If I've got your address, I'll send you one.
It's just a screen, right? It's just a screen.
Yeah, it's a little mesh screen. They're half-inch mesh screens. I bought mine on Amazon, somewhere on one of those posts, on my post, I believe, and on my Detroit area woodturners website web page for the video where he shows how he made it. But the links are posted on my post somewhere in the comments. That link to that is on Amazon. If you're going to make a couple of them,
I'll make some.
Yeah, they're not very expensive. It's like $7 for 30 of them or something like that.
I think that's what. But you got them off of Amazon.
I did, and
were they listed? Were they listed as whiskey smoker elements, or what were they listed as?
Let me jump on my Amazon account.
Hey, I'm in no hurry. I was just saying that way I know what to look for.
Robert
Hey,
Hodge
Billy.
just put it in the chat.
Hey, Billy, I'm the one that posted those whiskey smokers.
Okay.
And I started off with the 1/2-inch screens, and I didn't like them. They were too small. I reordered them 1-inch screens, and you get them from Amazon, and they're just pipe smoking screens. You, like Matt said, you get for like $7, you get a bag of 30 of them. And if you take a Forstner bit and drill that 1-inch diameter hole, they fit in perfect.
Yep.
Leave yourself a little lip for them to set on, and they work great.
But they're called pipe smoker screens.
Yeah, they're like a stainless steel screen.
Bob
Real
Princeton, somebody just posted it to our chat.
Oh,
The Amazon address.
Yeah, I will say that the little 1/2-inch ones I have, they work pretty good. But I was surprised at how small they are, and I think that the 1-inch ones would be better.
Yeah,
you don't use hardly any chips at all. So, the little smoking chips. So it
Yeah, don't take much.
Nope. I was impressed with how much flavor it added. And somebody suggested on there that people are doing it into wine too.
Yes.
So I'm gonna have to try that.
It made the bourbon, I thought, really smooth.
Yes.
Guys, so that before they even take a sip of it, they can actually the smell gets in their nasal cavity, so they're tasting it before they even taste it. It's crazy.
Works for me. And it's cool looking because you're drinking a smoking drink.
They're charging like $5-6 extra in the restaurants for it.
Oh yeah,
people are going crazy for it.
The guy in my club who I saw this from, Jeff Walters, who brought it to our club here Wednesday nights, he says he's selling them as fast as he can make them. So, I had no idea they were this popular. So
yeah, I've got people were asking for them at my craft fair, and I'm like, I was going to work on that, but I don't know where to get them. So now I do.
There you go.
The prices they're getting for them is ridiculous, like $40-50.
Well, I guess everybody's making that wooden piece that sits on top just big enough to cover the glass. I don't think that's really I don't think it needs to have a lip or anything on it, but I don't know.
This is my experience. The first one I made was a little bit too small. So what you saw on my post is it kind of it's 3 1/4 inches and it needs to be 4 inches in diameter.
Gotcha.
And I basically grabbed the first piece of oak I could find in my shop that was big enough, and it turned out it was a little too small. What I've done, I looked at a couple of videos on YouTube and plus what Jeff Walters did, and I decided that I wanted to make a little sort of a cup and a lip, which wasn't that big a deal to make, because he made his kind of domed, and when he put the chips in, the chips were kind of rolling off onto the table. But if you make the chips, if you make the thing a little cupped, you know what I mean? It'll catch the chips and you won't get the chips falling off and falling into your drink maybe or whatever. So that was my thought on it. Just make it a little cupped or whatever. And there's some other people somebody else made one so that you put the lighter right on top of the cup and you don't even char the outside of the smoker, the wood. So there's a couple of ways to go about it. I would suggest making a couple of different ways and then see which ones you like the best.
Cool. It's a very interesting thing to me.
It is.
I've got a couple of friends that have restaurants, so they're interested in them. So
yeah, no, I made mine like a lidded box. So when you put your chips in and you do your smoking, you can put the top right on it, and then it puts it out.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna laser engrave their restaurant logo around it. So then there'll be a smoker with their logo on it.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I textured mine too.
So it's gonna look really neat. That's my plan anyway.
What did you make yours? What wood did you use for yours? Did you use oak for yours also?
No, I used apple.
Okay.
And then I
that's a good
saved all
choice.
the apple chips and put them in the jars. And, you know, with each smoker, you get a jar of apple chips.
Cool. Very cool. Nice idea.
One way to get rid of the chips.
You can package them and sell them separately, you know?
Well, I did mine for Christmas presents, so.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
You wanted to give them everything.
Well, they're relatives, so you know they're going to be coming knocking on the door for chips one way or another.
Too funny.
All right. Hey, folks, we're going to do tips and tricks tonight. But I just want to tell you what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. And Dane has put this together for us. This is a list of our demonstrators that we have booked up for the month of November, which is only right around the corner. Bob Grinstead is going to be joining us, and then Doug Miller. Birdhouse Bob Moffett's going to be with us, and Dane takes over the demonstration organization by doing one himself. And that's the day before Thanksgiving, and we have a Birdhouse challenge for that day, November 23rd. And then on March 30th, Mark Soleil steps in with us. And as you see, all these folks are volunteering. We don't pay for demonstrations. It's our members helping our members. And I really love that. But tonight we're doing tips and tricks. Bob Hodge says, in no concerns of liability issues selling items that produce smoke that's potentially inhaled. Bob, I live right outside of Cancer Alley, and Billy lives in Cancer Alley. That wouldn't even faze these folks. I mean, they're thinking about.
I smoke meat on my smoker with the same chips, so I believe it'll be okay.
I did too. I would purposely go out and cut into what I have stored with an electric chainsaw to generate chips to put in my Smoke King smoker, and I loved it. My wife couldn't stand it, and I found out after we started this real health thing a couple of years ago, and my kidneys gave out, is that she was letting the chemicals drive her taste buds, and when we started phasing chemicals out, she realized how food tastes so good without salt and all these other benzonines and all that stuff. We were at lunch today, and she had a sandwich, and it was a chicken salad type thing. And I said, "What's the look on your face?" I was having my plain turkey thing, and she says, "This food is so salty, I can hardly eat it." Thinking this is a woman that used to dab everything with salt, and the only way she drank a beer is if you could coat the top of it with salt. And she's thinking something's too salty.
We have the same thing happen with us because we don't eat salt anymore. We just cut it out. We don't add salt to anything. So when we go somewhere, if it's got a little salt in it, it seems like a lot.
Yeah. It does. My dad had a heart attack in 1962, and the salt sugars, that was one of the main things. Salt goes out the door. We wouldn't have it.
I like spicy. I like spicy food. So I want my food to be spicy. It doesn't need to be salty.
Yeah, I'm with you, Billy, on that one.
Even simple things like potato chips. If you don't eat salt much and you eat potato chips, it's like, wow, you feel you're just licking a salt lick or something.
Mm-hmm.
An old buddy of mine said bars should give away potato chips because once it makes you want to drink more.
That's why they have peanuts in those places. You know that.
Yeah. And
and salsa and chips makes you want to drink more tequila, and we know what happens then.
There you go.
I got a child named Tequila. My youngest daughter's middle name is Tequila.
How did that happen?
All right. We're doing tips and
He's
tricks
got another
tonight,
one
folks.
whose middle name is Backseat.
Which came first?
My oldest one named Van.
My dad used
All
to
right.
say my middle name was Quits.
Crit. All right. Boy, we dropped off the edge there. All right. We're family oriented. Okay. Family oriented. If you'd like to share a tip or trick with us tonight, throw it in the spot. I mean, in the chat. Throw it in the chat tonight, and we'll call on you. And once we do call on you, one of the co-hosts will say, such and such has got a tip or a trick to share. You start talking when they say that. We're looking at a screen of probably 80 plus members right now, and your little cube on the screen's got to glow for us to find you and highlight you. So if you like to share a tip or a trick, and last week we had a couple in the last couple of weeks. Somebody asked about the rubber Chucky tip, and I think Matt was using that. Matt, weren't you using something like that to turn a finial?
Yes, I did use in that demo. I did demonstrate using the rubber Chucky Finial Chucky, and it basically just goes on a number 2 MT and goes into your tailstock, and it's got a bearing in the end of it that sits on the tip of your finial, and it holds it in place.
So it'd be like a one-way revolving center, except the part that makes contact is rubber Chucky?
The part that makes contact is actually the inside of the bearing.
Oh, really?
Yep. Everything else is static, so you don't put it on your live center. You just put it in a basic simple mandrel, and the bearing is has a hollow center, and the bearing sits on top of the metal interior part of the bearing is what makes contact with your finial.
Oh, wow. I should have looked at that a little bit harder. That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I will. Clearly I don't have that stuff with me, and I can show it to y'all next week, and maybe there's a way I can get a close-up or something of it. But there's 2 different sizes. So the one I used was the smaller one because I had a real fine little doohickey on the end of my finial. But he makes the other one has a little bit larger bearing in it. So if you're making a bigger, thicker bearing or a finial, then that one you could use that one too. So.
Yeah, thank you. And if you get creative with that equipment, see what they made it for and that, get creative with it. There's probably a lot of aftermarket things you can build yourself that would fit on that bearing to press onto lids, boxes, knobs, and all that to stabilize but not bind. And that's what this deal you're talking about does, is stabilize your cut. So if you put too much pressure on one, you just snap it right off. And that's pressure from bearings or pressure from your poor cutting techniques. And we've seen that. I mean, it's when I watch Cade Bolger turn something with the skew. I've learned my skew techniques from some good turners, but for our members that watch what Cade does, you're looking at some of the best technique in the world on how to use your tools. And that's what we're here for tonight, is talk about tips and techniques, tips and tricks. So if you got a trick or a tip that'll work for us, like the rubber Chucky thing, that's a nifty idea to hold you, stabilize your
if you think about it, Eddie, it's the same principle applies. Oh, hello. That's not me. Do I hear an echo?
No, you know what? Now I know who it is.
All right. If the same principle applies, like if you're turning a thin stemmed goblet and you use a tennis ball on your live center. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Matt, you're better than I thought. Look, we're looking at it. Matt, you know who's in your shop? Trace.
Who's in my shop?
You're not home. Trace is there.
And that's just a little bearing in there, and the tip of it just fits into it and holds it, keeps it in there.
Yep, that's exactly how it works.
Okay, just like that's going to sit in there and spin, and the center of the bearing is what spins.
Yep.
Oh, what's the back end? What's the work? What's the stationary part look like? There it is. Okay.
Yeah, he's got a nut in it that's a basic 3/4 by 10 nut, and you just, that mandrel screws into it. The one-way live center will screw into it. It's a standard live center or #2 MT mandrel thing. So on the inside of that thing is a 3/4 inch by 10 nut.
It's tightened down.
Yeah, you got it.
This is 3/4 10, and that just screws into the thing. So
yeah, but you just put that in your tailstock, and the bearing rotates on the inside, and it holds your finial where you want it to. Thanks, Trey.
And it really works real well for stabilizing. It decreases the time it takes for me to turn a finial way down.
Yep, I agree. Yep, because if you get fin at any point on your finial, that thing's gonna vibrate, and you could break it off easily. And having that stabilization there really helps.
Yeah. Can you almost do the same thing by knocking the point out of your tailstock center?
It's too big.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
My finial would slip all the way down. It's way down inside of it, halfway down it. So
yeah.
The yellow part of that, does that have any function at all other than connecting that bearing to the MT2?
None whatsoever.
I will say this is that his first versions of these did not have the cone there. They were a lot thinner, and they didn't do the job as well, which is why he made it the way he's making it now. It's much more stable this way. So
in other words, it's just adding more strength or stability to the bearing.
Yes, exactly. And
I have had the bearing pull back out of it sometimes too if I put too much pressure on it, but it just slips right back in.
That's a nifty device. Nifty. Okay, all you folks making brain waves so hard, you can make one to yourself. Go ahead and make those brain waves work. But if it'll save you a finial, it's worth this cost. It will. So
yeah, and like Trey says, you can make things a lot faster using it because it's a lot more stable.
About 3D printing, 3D print that.
You could do that, but I'm not sure it's worth it. Let me show you one quick other thing that I do while you have me highlighted. And I'm gonna see what I need to do. Get it to it. I'm gonna drill a hole in this little birdhouse. And this is a tip and trick.
A little hole?
Well, that's that's a 1-inch diameter, and that's the hole I'm gonna drill down in the center of to go down. And I want to go down 4 centimeters. So what I'll do, start the lathe. I would advance it so it starts turning, and I'm gonna line this up. That's my 4 centimeters right there. I'm lined it up here. Then I'm gonna advance it so that point reaches there. And I've drilled a hole 4 centimeters down on it.
that's a nifty trick.
And it is being held on with magnets. So it positions itself by just flipping it down with the magnets. Just grab it and hold it down to the tailstock.
No calibration, no readjustment, no zeroing. It's set it when you need it and go.
Yep. And I always just come up here and say, okay, I want, whatever,
whatever distance I want to go down on it, laying it down there, and then use the magnets to hold it in place to measure how far down I go.
Yeah. Bob Hodge says it's better than putting masking tape on it. He's right.
The problem with masking tape is I do a bunch of them. This is my last day and a half or so. And on the small ones, and it drives me nuts having to retape it every time.
Yeah. So
I use
nifty
a
trick.
Forstner bit and put masking tape on the shaft of the Forstner bit and put marks every 1/4 inch on there, and just use that to measure.
Okay. And I'm going in with a regular drill bit that's sized it's sized, if you look at it, it's sized just underneath under this. It's literally a 1/16 of an inch wall thickness around this edge.
Yeah. But Bob, what you're saying, this same technique would work with your Forstner bit. I mean, all it's telling you is how much your quill is moving, and your quill is moving the tip, the bit. So regardless what the tip size is or type or whatever, it's a good idea. It's a good tip. Trace, I took a picture of it. I'm saving it. That's what we do here. Do a screen capture if you want to see this stuff, folks. Of course, it'll be on our replay, which is put on the website by Dave Rhodes. He's our webmaster. He puts these programs on the site, and he breaks out some of our demonstrations to show them also. So if you see something as we talk about, put in the chat, save it, put it up there. And if you wonder what happened, in a couple of days, you'll be able to go to our website and see it. And it's probably the world's greatest website dealing with wood turning. Probably. All right.
Hey,
Eddie? Go ahead. Who's you got? I know you got somebody. I see it.
Well, no, I got a question.
Go ahead.
How do you do a screenshot?
With my Mac, I do Shift Command and then the number 3. Somebody uses a DOS system. How do you do it on a DOS?
With Windows, I believe you can hold down the Windows key and hit the print screen.
Windows key, print screen.
Double check that, but
That'll then copy it to memory, so then you have to paste that into a application.
Windows, that Windows screen is that little square that's divided into 4 parts.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't see a print button though.
I see mine right above backspace on the DOS that I use for the laser. And I don't stay familiar with the Windows. I'm having a problem staying familiar with the Apple. There we go. Bob says print screen should be on the near upper right. It's PRTSC.
yeah, just don't make a mistake I just made and hit the function key instead, because it'll, on my computer, it turns off your internet.
On Windows computers, the keyboards can be so different depending upon what style you even like. So
yeah, and I got a cheap Logitech, I think, keyboard. I'm not seeing no print button.
I have 2 spare laptops I got from my sister at Windows 7 systems, and I'm told don't even turn them on. All right, we're going to do a little gallery tonight. If you got something to show in gallery, just jump up there and let us know. Right now, I think we're going to travel to Tallahassee and talk to Tom Kenny. Hey, Tom.
Hello. Going back to the idea about the rubber Chucky, I went cheap on this. I got a little piece of plastic rod and drilled a hole and stuck a bearing in, just friction fit. And there's a little bit of a clearance hole behind it. And then the back end is tapered down. You could make this so it slides into your live center. In my case, I just take my Jacobs chuck and put it in the tailstock and grab hold of this, put the tip of the finial in the bearing, and I've got 20 cents worth of stuff tied up in it. It was an easy project. The other thing I'd like to show is I was looking at Tres lathe and the mess that he had on there. Normally what I do is use compressed air, and I think I have the regulator set at about 95 PSI, and when I hit dust, it gets airborne, goes everywhere. And I got one of these things, and I got it at an estate sale and paid next to nothing for it. It's a little tiny DeWalt leaf blower. And if you're going to blow the leaves off your driveway, you're going to spend all day out there. It's not meant for that. But it's got 3 speed ranges, plus it's a variable speed trigger. And I can just give a little puff and clean off the sawdust, blow it onto the floor, and not send it all up in the air. But if you put it on high speed and pull the trigger all the way back, it'll make a mess. But like I say, it's not designed for blowing leaves. But after I got this thing, I looked at Harber Freight, and they have, I think, 2 different models that are affordable. They're $30 or $40. This thing, when I looked it up online, was like $150, and you'd have to hold a gun to my head to get me to pay that kind of money for a little toy leaf blower. But it's become one of my favorite tools in the shop for just, they call it a job site blower. And if you're cutting a sheet of plywood or, have dust on your workbench, just want to puff it off onto the floor, this is the thing for it. Highly recommend it. It's been a lot of fun.
Those things are awesome.
I'm enjoying it. I do have 2 things for gallery, if I can do that while I'm still online.
You're on.
All right. Don't know what either of these woods are, but they were pretty.
Ooh, yeah, they are.
Well, it is pretty.
Very nice.
Put that light back on.
Let's see.
Look at that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Brenda, did you see that face on the side that just went by?
Don't get her started, man.
Always got to pull that chain, don't you?
That is pretty.
Thank you. No idea what the wood is. I think
Right
it
there.
might. I don't think it's walnut because it's a real closed pour. But and I believe I put a wipe-on poly finish to get it that shiny. It's been some time since I finished this piece. And the second one,
I can see your reflection in it.
yep, see everything in it.
See him? See, he's reaching for it. Oh.
That's
pretty.
nice.
Again,
Nice
I have
shape.
Thank you. I have
Beautiful.
no idea what the wood is, but it's just a little hollow form about 6 inches tall.
Love the character of that grain. That is just outstanding.
Yes.
Thank you. It's always amazing when you cut into a log what you're going to find in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's outstanding.
Brenda,
we were
there's a
talking-
shark on the side coming up.
I thought it
Oh,
looked like a
man.
dolphin. There he is.
So,
There
we-
it is,
we-
right there.
That's all I got for tonight.
Thank you,
Beautiful
Tom.
stuff.
We were
Very
talking
good.
to,
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
yeah. All right, we were talking with Billy Dillard earlier about sycamore, and Billy's making pens. He's using sycamore to do the pens, and that's the same thing you find when you start cutting into it. That grainness, that waffling, that the quilting of the wood, it comes up outstanding. So never judge a board by its cover. Really don't. We're doing a little gallery, but the theme of the night is tips and tricks. And we're getting a few. All right, now we've had a couple of show you a tip, show you a trick, and then how to build it. But you know what? Let's go back to Bayou Bob. Bayou Bob was just with us. And Bob, you have to say it because I can't find you up here to throw you on. I see you have something but gallery.
Oh, okay.
There he is.
You meant Birdhouse Bob, not Bayou Bob.
Oh, wow. We renamed you when you were gone.
Oh, okay. I got a bow that I did. That you say
Oh, my
already.
goodness.
do the
Oh, neat.
texturing on it.
Nice.
Do the back
Oh,
like
sweet.
that. And,
That's really nice, Bob.
well, thank you.
Yes, it is.
Hey, Bob, can you tell me a little bit about the middle, this gold section in the middle there?
I mean, this section?
Yeah, is that gold leaf or I can't
It's,
really see
no,
it.
it's the dye and it's sanded back some.
Okay, thank you.
The yellow
Very
dye
nice.
and then a red on top of it, and that's sanded back.
Wow,
And then
very nice.
every Christmas, I make some Christmas trees out of cedar. And wife gives them to some of her friends, and so
You're getting an early. Oh, that was.
I like the cedar because it has the different colors in it.
Yeah, that looks good.
The base is beautiful. We can't really.
Yeah.
Everybody's probably not seeing the base. You have done something to the base.
Yeah, on the right. Yes, lift it up. No, the other way. Let's see.
I
the
should have
base of it,
screen
Bob.
captured. Boy, I should have screen captured that one, huh?
There we go.
Bob's fly.
Did you texture the base?
Yeah. I used a
There it is.
the Sorby red spiraling tool on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this one I used the what's it? The Wagner tool on.
Okay, cool.
Froze, Bob.
I like both of them. Both of them.
So-
look
I
good.
do too.
Yeah.
Sort of to make it look like a basket. And this one I think I used the
Oh.
Wagner's the red. I mean, not the Wagner, but the Sorby, the red texturing tool.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Thank you.
You don't have any problems with that cedar cracking later on you, do you? Or you don't worry about it?
No, I hadn't any trouble with it cracking later on. A lot of times pieces will be, have cracks in them when I'm doing them, but
What do you
depending
finish?
on where the crack is, sometimes I just leave it in there.
Oh, it looks good in the trees. That's for sure.
What do you finish the cedar with, Bob?
I use spray on sanding sealer and then lacquer.
Oh,
And I found I tried oil on them one time, but the oil darkens it so much, and
yeah.
the lacquer and the sanding sealer, it doesn't darken as much.
Oil probably interacts with the tannins and the resins.
Yeah. Might be
That's
it.
what I got.
Very nice,
Thank
Bob.
you, Bob.
You're welcome.
All right. Dave
Dave
Kingsley.
Kingsley.
Dave Kingsley, I see you have something
Yes,
to show
sir.
tonight. Somebody got your spotlight already. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I'm
sir.
Uh-huh.
here. I saw this and it was so stupid simple, I had to pass it along. I saw it on YouTube. And what this is, it's just sort of a little hook with 2 points sticking out of it. And you put it over your center. And just get a little nudge up against the bottom of your bowl that you've already flattened out. And it marks the exact size of both of your small and large tenon, or any jaw set that you might set it up for, and it just scratches a line where your tenon should be. All in one
Hold
swell
it.
swoop.
Hold that
Well,
thing
that's a
still.
good
Okay,
idea.
got it. That is.
Yeah,
We've seen a lot of gizmos for doing that. That's a simple one. That's nice.
Hmm.
yeah, and it took me almost 15 minutes to make. And I have another question while I've got you. Is there any way to repair this? What I was doing was I had drilled a hole and was backing out. And apparently the bit had heated up and it stuck in the hole. But what happened? This pulled out and nearly broke my thumb.
Hold it up. We can't see what you're doing, what you're
Oh.
about.
It's a Morse.
I'm holding it up in front of my screen instead of my camera.
It's a Morse taper connection, Dave. You have a spur sticking out from your lathe that is the opposite of the inside of that, and it's a 100% friction fit. So if you
Right.
clean them, both, you can put it back in place with a piece of wood driving on it. Don't touch that chuck with steel.
Right.
But make sure you clean it. And wire brushing is not the way to clean Morse taper. You have to clean Morse taper like it's a baby's butt, very gently, and just remove anything that would build up in there. If you do it too coarsely, it might not hold. It will coil out around, and it'll be impossible to get back out later on.
And I should point it out to Susan as a safety tip. Be very careful when you're backing out of a hole. If it gives you any yanking back at all, watch out for this, because I nearly broke my thumb when it comes whipping around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a fun day.
I bet that was sort of scary.
Yes.
But it was.
Yeah, well, the thing is, my doctor has me wearing a glove because I have a neuropathy problem. And if it wasn't for the glove, I would have had a nice gash down the back of my thumb. But the glove saved me from that. But yikes.
Works.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Dave.
Yes, sir.
If you take, I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to do it, but if you take and clean out your chips more often, you won't have a tendency to have it pull out like that. Because what your chips do is develops a ring in there, and it's when you go to pull it out, it won't let you come out.
Yeah. I had been clearing chips, but I have a feeling that the bit heated up and expanded in the hole.
Yes.
Was part of the problem.
Yeah.
Dave, do that too.
Yes,
Dave,
sir.
I have a little tip for you. What I do when I drill with a Forstner bit is I run compressed air through a small nozzle in there to cool the bit, and it keeps the chuck clean.
Okay, that would take some
Does.
engineering. Yeah.
I keep I keep a stick of beeswax on the top of my lathe, and once I get the Forstner bit in there and it's warm a little bit, I just run the stick of beeswax over the outside of the Forstner bit, and then it slides in and out a lot quicker, a lot easier.
Yeah. I use an old candle. I do the same thing with an old candle.
There you go. Same idea. Yep.
Beautiful. Thank you.
All right. There you go, Dave.
I
A
learned
couple of
something.
problems and a couple of solutions. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right. Scott Hampton's out there in farm country of California. Scott, you said you had something to show tonight?
I do. I made a natural edge Christmas tree.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, nice.
It's made out of a almond log. I got a whole big long section of it, and I cut it up, and I've been making these kind of trees out of it. You can see all the nice cracks and stuff. I generally leave most of the tool marks in it unless they're really bad. I'll do some hand sanding, but this one doesn't have a finish on it yet.
Cool.
I'll usually either spray a satin finish on it or put walnut oil on it. So I'll be probably making about a dozen of these, and they'll all sell at my craft fair. I have a craft fair in early December, and I always sell out of all of these. So there we go.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
I'll be back later with a tip that I've been using to make birdhouses. So
all right, we'll wait to see that. Thank you.
All right.
And while we're taking tips and hints, Henry says clean the Morse taper bronze with shotgun cleaner kit. Shotgun cleaner kit. Good idea, Henry. Well, Henry says clean it with that. Try not to put that hard bristle wire into that Morse taper. You're cleaning off residue and saps and other things generated from below the chuck. If you go too coarse, it just gives the crap another place to stick. So, but cleaning it with that, I used to use a gun cleaning solution. I don't have guns anymore, but and it do really good at cleaning up with an oversized Q-tip type thing. Just cleaning it, wiping it off. Now,
why not use the wire? It's brass. It's not going to hurt the steel.
Well, when I say wire, a lot of folks will think it's the wire brush. That's the brass brush.
Well, one
which is-
thing too is not all those gun cleaning brushes are the same. There are brass and some steel. So as long as you're using brass, you're okay.
Yeah.
But you don't want to use one of those stainless steel brushes that I've seen lately.
And you consider that if your tailstop pulls out and you got a hard problem setting it in place, that can add a little wobble, a little move. We're talking finial support. Trace showed you a rubber Chucky finial support thing earlier, and we've seen a homemade version of it. They're made to reduce chatter. If you can't seat your Morse taper into your quill cleanly and neatly in the same place every time, instead of having it kicked up or kicked down, that's all going to add harmonics to the piece moving. As minuscule as it is, it'll move. So that is a major. The tailstock connections is a major connection between when you're working. It's as critical as your chuck is, because if one's out or the other's out or they're not in running and sync, then you will get that vibration, and that's what's going to cost you it's going to cost you a nice catch or a nice gouge. And you can't do something really fine if you have that in there. You wonder, why did I get this little ripple in my work? It's not a ripple. Something is moving. The blade's moving, the piece is moving, the tail lock moving, the chuck's moving. Something is giving up because you're putting two different harmonics together, and that doesn't work out. Henry says, clean Morse taper bronze shotgun cleaning kit. Bronze, that was the key. See, Trace was right there. If you can use it right, bronze was the key. And even the ones that are that dense plastic that's, I got one around here someplace that you'd clean it with. It works great. But whatever you do, do not spray any lubricant, the yellow, blue can, none. Don't spray anything in your Morse taper. Do not do that.
No. Hey, Eddie, I think you were trying to come up with the green weenie, the green spiral thing.
Yes.
Yeah. If somebody has one of those, find somebody that does the 3D printing and give that thing to them. They can make a mint, because there's nobody making those now. The company that was making them went out of business, and they are not going to make any more of them. Took the patent with them and everything. So if somebody were to start printing those, you can make a mint in a heartbeat. When I talked to the guy at Packard, he was telling me if somebody would start making those things, he would buy everything they make. So,
what exactly
got a
is that
ready-made
again?
market right there.
What is that, Doug, that you guys are talking about?
The
They
green
look like a
weenie.
nylon reamer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll run out
plastic,
to the shop
nylon.
and get some so I can show you guys.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like a 7 or 8 inch piece of plastic or nylon, had a spiral built onto it, and you.
I got it.
All right, Eddie's going to show you what it is.
Yeah, let me get back to the desk. All right, I got it. Mine's got to be 20 years old. That's the green weenie.
There you go.
That's a number 2 Morse taper green weenie, and I had a number 3 because the one way's got a 2 and a 3, and I guess I just felt I needed it. But that will not scar, but it will clean up the inside of Morse taper.
Yeah.
And that's what it's for, is cleaning up the inside of the Morse taper?
Yes.
Very cool. Wow.
And like I
Okay.
said, the company that made those is not making them, and so that's a good income for anybody that can reproduce those things on a 3D printer.
Could you make one of those out of wood, like out of a soft wood?
If you had the ability to make the spirals, maybe.
Okay.
That's the
I saw
cutting.
somewhere where you could use a bottle brush and do pretty much the same thing.
Sort of, yeah.
That's the cutting edges, if you can see that, Matt. See the,
Yeah,
the
thank you,
flutes
Eddie.
on
That's
it?
very cool.
Captain, you beat me to it.
I think I know somebody that can make those.
You say you know somebody to make those? Who was that? Was that Johnny?
Yeah, it was Johnny.
Johnny Jr. can make them.
Yeah, they had those in 1, 2, and 3. So regardless of
Yes.
your Morris taper size, you could
Wow.
get them to clean them out.
That only proves to me that Dean Grimes has got a problem going into craft supplies.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, it could be true. But I got lathes that have all 3 sizes, so why not,
You know, you guys got me thinking. One of the things that I've done is made small jam chucks, and with a number 2 Morse taper on them, so that just out of wood, just they fit right into my. And of course, I'm not in my shop. I can't show it to you guys, but I've got a couple of those where I actually made a Morse taper out of wood that goes into my tailstock directly, and a little steel pin or something on it to hold something I was making. I'll have to look that up. I don't remember what I was actually using it for now, but there's no reason why you couldn't make a Morse taper out of wood to use as a jam chuck or as a center for something.
Well, and if you're gonna do that, all you really have to do is lay a Morse taper on a piece of wood, and then glue a piece on either side of it, and that works as your guide. So then when you start turning that, you got a guide to get up there and see exactly when you get it right, and it'll fit perfectly in your Morse taper. I've done that quite a few times on different things that I needed.
Yeah,
Always consider.
Go on, Eddie.
Always consider that on a Morse taper, you can have a slight bow. You cannot have a bump.
Right.
You have a bump, you've lost it. But I found that online a long time ago, there was a pattern that it was a PDF, and you could print the pattern and cut it out, and it would show you the center points and the reliefs and such to do the right, a 1, 2, or 3 to cut your own wooden Morse tapers. And it was mainly, it was referred to as a push taper. So if you were holding on to the bottom of a bowl or pushing up against something, you were removing the waste block off of, you were pushing wood to wood. So if you made contact with it, you didn't dull your tools. Well, I started creating the soft touch tip that would thread onto your revolving center with the 3/4 10 tap. And I eliminated the need to have that push taper thing. And I'd make those soft touches with a bowl nose, a pointed nose, nose with a hole in it that would use to stabilize a pen mandrel. So you could use it to, like, there's a new kit by Penn State, or somebody's got this thing that you put in your tailstock that you push onto your pens with. Good move, because you take the pressure off the rod and put the pressure on the work, and which keeps it from wobbling. Mandrel saver. There you go. I knew you had it. All right. Carl had it all the time. But yeah, if you turn pens, and you understand that if you have a mandrel and you put the pressure on the ends and it has no place else to go, it will go this way because you're putting the pressure on it, because that's what the bar is supposed to do. But if you have a pen on a sleeve with bushings, and you're pushing on the end of the bushing, you don't have that bar moving. You'll take some vibration or some motion out of the pen, which is, you want that. Otherwise, if you push down on it so hard, thinking you got to do that for a good grip, you might be harming your work rather than helping your work. And that's where that little soft touch with a hole in the end of it, and you knock the pin out of your revolving center, and you push it up there, and it applies just enough pressure, but it's all on stock, not on mandrel. And they come in handy for all kinds of things. I've got them big enough to fit into the end of a cup or a goblet. And there's no limit on what I can do with them. And if I'm just trying to stabilize a piece, like you're doing a goblet, you hollow out a goblet and you start the outside, and you want to get down to doing the stem, and you want to make it as thin as some of the things we've seen in the meetings here. You have to stabilize that outside in, and that's just a cheap way of getting there. Now, if you put too much pressure on it, you'll have the same problem I said with the mandrel. You bow the work with the pressure. So your idea is when you're pushing on it a little bit, you're not trying to move it. You're just trying to keep it from doing this, from getting a shake in it. And I saw one of the seasoned turners, I don't use the term professional, turners doing it at a SWAT meeting one time. And the guy whipped up a thing, stuck it in his tailstock, and I said, I've seen that. It was a cone, the right angle and all to fit right into the end of the piece that he was hollowing real thin. It was night and day from what he was doing before he put that piece up to when he put the piece up. It was a great demonstration. And I've seen string steadies and negative string steadies and all this stuff. All that takes the vibration out. It all works really good.
Hey, Captain?
Go ahead.
Penn Tool Company, Kaiser Big Morse Taper M2 Spindle Cleaner, $29.95.
Whoa, throw it in the chat, will you?
I will sure do that.
All right, Scott, appreciate it.
It's actually a machine tool company. That's probably why you're not finding it.
You know, as I said, it wasn't made by anybody. I was going to go to littlemachineshop.com and look for it tomorrow. I wrote it down because I go to littlemachineshop.com for all kinds of parts to work on my lathe. I don't have a machine. I'm not using a machining lathe, but chucks, arms, nipples, adapters that go into your tailstock, all this stuff. Littlemachineshop.com. Tell them I sent you. That'll help. But
put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat. All right. Doggone it. I got to do that. All right.
I've got
whatever you do, Donald. What's that?
Eddie, I was just saying there's a couple things I could show real quick while we're waiting for some more folks who want to share a tip or a trick or something like that.
All right, go for it, because I just got done putting it in the chat. Littlemachineshop.com.
All right. A couple of folks as I came in said something about my burl bowl that I had on YouTube.
Oh,
great!
What do you see that
video? By the way,
that's that is red mallee burl from Australia. This stuff, like most Australian woods, is hard as it can be. Does have a bit of an inclusion there. That's where the side of the tree dipped into itself. And there's a little bit over here. There's no bark on the inside, but there is on the outside, right through there. You can see it. Just an indentation in the tree. But it came out real nice. This is a giveaway prize bowl, so I wanted it to have a nice shine. I think I may have gotten that on there.
Would you like me to go ahead and give you my address now, Doug?
Sure did.
That's what Bob Moffett said a while ago. And so did Jim Sears. So lots of folks. There's a lot of folks. I'd like to keep it myself. But
turn that bowl around a little bit. Just there you go. Keep turning.
Oh man. Oh man.
Keep turning. Little more. Right there. You see that bunny rabbit right there in the middle?
I see
it.
Little bunny rabbit.
We all knew where Brenda was going.
Yeah.
You sure that's not a duck?
Boy, Brenda, you can hop to it on that one.
This is where he's been eating too much grass.
Nice job, Doug.
But that one came out pretty good. And then, of course, this is time for us to be turning things for Christmas. We've already seen a couple. But I've turned 16 of these already, and just in the last 2 or 3 hours, sold 11 of them. Actually, I sold 10. One my wife just claimed, so that's a no profit job there. But this one is crab apple. That's what I've been turning most of them out of. Had some that were all about this color. Well, here, that's even closer, this dark brown. I have no idea what that wood is, but these are crabapple, and they're turning beautifully. Roughing them out with the spindle roughing gouge. I've got a big 2 1/4 inch spindle roughing gouge that I'm using. Knocks them down real quick, and then I can use the skew to get the taper section and mark all my whorls. And then I use a spindle gouge and just finish them out. Get the little curves in here with the spindle gouge, and it's working out just wonderfully.
I like the bottom on that one. That's different.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
this
that
one
too.
is just done like it's got a root ball that's been burlapped.
Yeah.
That's
I do
nice.
some with looks like flower pots. I just do them different. Whatever strikes me when I get to that section. I don't.
Very nice, Doug.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, that's it for me, folks. If you got some tips or tricks, pop them in the well, there, Jim Duxbury. Well, it's over now. Go ahead, Jim.
Never mind.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, what do you mean it's all over?
Never mind.
Well, it's all over for me anyway. Go ahead, Jim.
I got a couple things. Let me see what I got here. I'll do a screen share.
There you go.
Did it come up? Oh, Lord.
Oh.
Eddie,
I like that idea.
Eddie, you recovered
I like
faster
that
than I
too.
do, right? You get tired of using these little wire handles on here. However, there's a reason for that. These big, strong guys can actually bend the jaws on a chuck. So they put this little wire handle on here. If you get tired of using this, if you use it all day, this has the shaft going up through here, and this pin goes into the end of there, down into the wood, so that you just have to lean on this a little bit and it's tight.
Nice.
I was trying to figure out what that yellow tip is sticking out. Now I see it's the yellow tip from the
This
other
little
end of
end
the bar.
here, yeah. That wire goes down in the handle. In fact, my wife turns too, and she loves hers because hers is blue naturally, but anyway. I did dust collecting for years, a commercial sheet metal contractor. And this is my dust collection system. And I see these all over the place, and everybody makes all kinds of mistakes on them. If there's only one person working in the shop, you only need one size duct, period. If this branch came out here and 3 people were working on it, then it has to be sized for 3 people. But there's only one person working on this. This is my dust blower. It's 1 horsepower, probably moves, I don't know, 450 CFM or something. And everybody worries about the restriction on the intakes. The restriction on the discharge is just as important. That's half the dust collector. So what I've done is, before I show that, see where all my clamps are? That's a 1x3 screwed on the wall, so I can find all my clamps. Anyway, the discharge of this thing, it usually comes with a bag on it. I put an extra bag on here, and then I cut the top out of my old shop vac. And that's a drum on the bottom for the chips and crap to go into. I put a window on the side so I can tell what's going on. Let's see. On this over here are all my templates and things. Router cutters, more clamps. To know if this thing's working, I put a manometer on it. A manometer is a big name for a stupid, simple thing that you can't believe. There's a hole in the side of this duct with a tapped little brass fitting on it. A piece of, I think it's this 1/2 inch poly tube to a U-tube. I'll put this up here. I'm going to show this more. It comes out of here and goes into a U-tube. It's nothing but a bent tube with red water in it, or water with food coloring. And then on the side here, this is a little clip with a ruler on the side of it that you can move up and down in case when this water evaporates, you have to move this around. So when this is off, you set that right at the top of that little aluminum clip. And when you turn this on, it should operate between the green and the red. If it goes above the red, then the system's plugged up on the discharge side. If it goes below the green, the system's plugged up on the intake side. It's not moving air. The end of it keeps getting dust in it, so that's the end off a garden glove, a finger, a high-tech filter, okay? I'll go back to this other. On each drop, this is my dust collector over here. On each drop, they call them a blast gate in industry. This is, you turn it on and off. When you open this up to use this port, it turns that, this is wired with a small micro switch. Has that, I think it's a Lone Ranger or something they call it, but it turns the dust collector on. And that does a couple things. It turns the dust collector on. It also makes sure you turn this off. Otherwise, you've got all of them open after a while and nothing's sucking anything. This makes sure you're using one port for one thing. My wife can't use this, so I leave this open and she has a switch over here to turn it on and off. She's too short to reach that. This is her lathe. A dust collector is not a respirator. A dust collector takes the dust, in industry, the dust collector takes the chips off your machine, puts it in a dumpster out behind the place. It does collect some dust, but it's mainly made to used as a material handler. So somebody doesn't need a shovel and a wheelbarrow. Breweries use a big dust collector. When the grain comes in a railroad car, the guy jumps in there with a 14-inch hose that's screaming, and he sucks the grain out, and it goes up to about the 5th floor or something into a hopper, and then it filters down gravity-wise. Industry uses these things to move shot blasting and all kinds of things. I've designed these for all sorts of things. But anyway, it's wonderful. You don't need a very big one, especially if you're the only person in the room. You only use one size duct because you need the velocity. If you make a big trunk line and only one person's using it, there's not enough air to move the chips out of the tube, out of the duct. So it fills up with chips. Anyway, any questions on that? This is that's what it looks like close up. Here's the bracket. You set that to the top of the red water. And if it goes up above here, you know the discharge is plugged up. It's adding too much pressure. And if it goes below here, you know your suction is plugged up. You got something on the intake side. Okay.
That's pretty smart.
Costs you nothing. I mean, the cost is 40 cents or something.
Jim, I have a question.
Sure.
I see you use PVC pipe. Do you worry about static shock? Or how do you handle it?
No, there's a wire around the outside of this. You can see this wire around the outside. On all of this, there's a wire around the outside. And then every now and then, like this blast gate's grounded, and every now and then I put screws right through, little lightning arresters or whatever, but I've never had any problems with it. All my brackets and things are all grounded. You can feel it sometimes when on a big hose, like the hoses I connect to. I don't think I just show the one of these. You can see the wires wrapped around here. That's a bare wire. Some of them put them on the inside, but that really screws things up. Don't do that.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
What size are those? That's 4 inches.
4 inch, yeah. They're just They're just plumbing fittings and a lot cheaper than metal. I can make it out of metal, but life's too short.
Grounding, are you going to the electrical ground or to an outside or?
Well, I just use electrical ground. Yeah, the same thing probably.
Running it through a water pipe works wonderful.
Yeah, but I don't have water.
Oh, okay.
With PV or with PEX?
What was that? I didn't get it.
Using PEX for water, it doesn't ground too good.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have. I wish I had water in my shop. If I build another shop, it's gonna have a lot of things. But anyway, this is the depth gauge. It's just a piece of walnut in this case with a slot cut in it, and this is a tightening rod here. But I have different sized brass rods through here. A lot of times when I'm making things, you cut to a depth, and if you're making a bowl with like steps on the inside, with this long bar, you can reference the depth of the cut from this same surface every time. If you're doing precision work, you never cut to another surface and then reference off that surface to another surface to another surface. You always go off of the same surface. And that way you get, hopefully, that's what it looks like on the bottom. I use this for all kinds of things. This is what we were talking about kind of before with the rubber Chucky. A lot of times I knock the center out of this center, and they give you this little handle, which works great. But when it's in the tailstock, you have to take it out every time and knock that point out. By making a long knockout bar, you can knock that point out with the center in the tailstock. Saves a lot of time. When I make tops and things, I turn the point and I stick it in this cup center, and then I turn the rest of the top. So this gives you a really good center. Oh, now I got to figure out how to turn this thing.
Making me dizzy.
Oh man, how do you turn this?
I thought that one you wanted a minute ago would do it.
Yeah,
so too.
there. Yeah.
No, I can't. I get them up. Anyway, turn your head sideways.
Brenda, get up. Brenda, get off the floor. We can see this.
Yeah.
I'll be dead. I don't know why.
Just turn your computer sideways, right?
Yeah. You want me to back out and turn them?
No.
Anyway, I have 4 or 5 lathes all the time, and this is a tool cart on wheels. It's got all my calipers on one side. All my tools are up here, so I know exactly. In fact, the one that's missing is a 3/4 inch spindle roughing gouge. I know exactly where all these are. All my calipers are here. I'll be damned. I can't believe this came out like this. This side has more calipers. These are tool rests, all kinds of jigs and things. One of these posts has a hole in the end. I can put an arm on it with a light. This is the on-off switch for the fan over the lathe. The drawers have, this drawer is for sanding. Got all the ends in it and sanding discs. The outside of a bowl, it's wonderful to use at least a 5-inch sanding disc because you get way more sandpaper. Cuts way faster. These are all my jigs and fixtures. Some of these are 3/4 10. They fit on the tailstock. This is like a 1-inch 8, and the other one over here is 1.25 inch 8. But all the different, there's the rubber. What do you call that? A rubber weenie? The Morse taper chuck?
The green weenie.
Green weenie. Here's my chuck wrench. I do use these things. It's amazing that shot came out right.
Yeah.
Oh, here's I should have had this over. This is a dust collector for my little days. We move this all around the table wherever you need a dust hood. That's an old bowl that didn't turn out, or maybe I went through the bottom of it or something. But anyway, it fits on the dust collector. A little stand with an adjustment and a wing nut and a weight on the bottom. That weight is a roller bearing out of a railroad wheel. One roller bearing. Must weigh 15 pounds. I think Billy last week made a hollow form, and he did a really nice job of deep hollowing. To sand inside there, this is a 5/16 shaft with a slot cut in it, and you just bend a piece of sandpaper and stick it in there, and it makes a flap sander. You can go right down in the hollow forms. This is another one I use. Sometimes I do bud vases or something, and you go to put a test tube in and it's a little tight. You can jam that in there and clean it out and make it a little bigger. And this one fits in my Dremel tool. So 1/8" drill bit, I cut it in half and I put a slot in it and put a piece of sandpaper in there. You cut the slot in it with that little black wheel that they have for the Dremel tool. And when you get a deep hollowing, this is the 3" sanding pad, and that's a 1" sanding pad. These are nothing but drill extensions. And I make a block of wood with a hole in it. That's a bearing, so you can hold on to this and the drill motor and run this right down the bottom of your hollow form and clean up the bottom of the hollow form. These really save time. If you'll see right on the side of here, it says 3 mm. That's the Allen screw that goes in there. It's a 3 mm, and I think this is a 1/8. As soon as I figure out what these damn things are, I take my little engraver and mark it on the side of there, so I don't have to guess every time I pick it up. I don't know what I get. Maybe that's it. Oh, this is it. Right amount. Every now and then I cut a recess right next to the tailstock center, and your parting tool won't go in to cut a recess. You always end up with it. It's not quite straight in there. So I took an old screwdriver, heated it up, and bent it. In fact, I don't think I even retempered it, but I put the end of ground the end of a parting tool on here. So now you can go in there at an angle, and it does a gorgeous job. It cuts a really nice square shoulder in there, so you can take the tailstock out later and mount something in there or whatever. Good use for old screwdrivers too. These are sanding pads. Oh, who is that? 3" sanding pads. That's not blood on there. That's a ink pen. When you get new sanding pads and a new piece of sandpaper, they stick on there unreal. So I put a red mark on here, and I got a little Bernzomatic torch, but a cigarette lighter or something like that. Melt a little circle right there, and that gives you a finger hole. You can see there, the Velcro is burned away. That gives you a finger hole to get your finger in, tear the sandpaper off.
It's an excellent tip.
Good idea.
It really works. It's my spray booth. I got a window on the other side of the shop, and I have a fan that blows air in. And so I open this window and spray over here, and the air goes out this window. So cheap spray booth, no filters. My workbench, I do a lot of gluing. And one day I had a couple pieces. I usually I used to have just a wooden workbench. These are all on wheels. The workbench is a 1/4 inch lower than my table saw. So if I bring a sheet of plywood in here, I could throw it on top of here, roll it around, slide it through my table saw. And I have one on the other side of the table saw as an outfeed table. And it just works for everything. I was gluing up, I do a lot of glue ups, and I had newspaper on the bench. One day I glued some stuff up, and as I pulled the pieces together, the newspaper came up in the joint. That'll never happen again. So I formica'd one end of the table, and all my gluing's done on there. You let the glue dry, and the next day you go in and knock it all off, and it's clean as a whistle. These 2 holes in here and that little red thing you'll see later. Of course, you keep all your junk. This is all the wood that's too good to use. You know, you keep it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
This is going to be a press. These 2 holes in here, underneath the ends of these pipe clamps, drilled a hole in them, and I put a screw in them. So there's one screwed under each side. You can see there's one underneath there, mounted under there. So now when I put those down through the table and I put something underneath, I just need a beam and I've got a press.
Cool.
Oh, that is a great idea.
I use it a lot, and you can put a 4-foot post in here. You can do anything you want. Sometimes if they're the same size, I do one on each side or something. This is the last one, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I use Johnson Forwex a lot for like tool handles and toys and stuff. And if you mess around long enough, you know, with a screwdriver trying to get the can lid open, you open it 300 times a day or something. I made a handle for it. And the handle's got to be radiused on the bottom so it bends that lid a little bit. But all you do is give this a little pull, and it comes right off. That's it for me.
No,
Wow.
stop.
Awesome, Jim.
Oh, thank you.
Great stuff, Jim.
More. We want more.
Absolutely
Never
incredible.
mind.
All good tips.
Nice.
Real nice. Thank you, Jim. You made the day, man. That was some beautiful.
Well,
Yes.
You know, and as we're all looking at that, we're all thinking the same thing. Why not come up with that?
Exactly.
You know, and that's why we do tips and tricks, because you may be seeing something as simple as that little handle on that can of wax, but if you don't put the cover back on the wax, what do you end up with? You end up with a wax full of stuff, and that's not good. So it just that one little tip will save you a whole can of wax, and then it's worth it. Some of the other tips he had were fantastic. I'm sitting on a screen save. You know, I've got a whole file full of things from Jim Duxbury, because I'm not letting this get away, and you shouldn't either. If you got something to share tonight, jump in and share it with us. I think we have somebody said they have one on birdhouses. Oh no, there he is. Trace had one. Somebody got him spotlighted. He's up. Trace, you're on.
You're muted, Trace.
Okay, I'm doing almost the exact same thing as he did. This is a 1-inch piece of aluminum drilled out, and I originally had it as a handle, but I just stuck it in there. You drill it on your lathe, stick it in there, it does the same. And what it does, exactly what he said, it reduces how much pressure you have to put on it every time you're tightening this chuck down. It reduces the amount of pressure you got to put on it each and every time. But you can just do that and it's tightened down without having to over torque it. So.
Trish, show your tailstock, Trish. You got one on the tailstock too.
I do have one on the tailstock. Let me slide this over. Okay. And I've done the same thing on the tailstock. Yeah. It's just a little cheater arm. That's all I have to put on it instead of me trying to fight it with this and, really bear down on with the small one. It fits over there. Easy to go on and off.
Yeah.
I have a wooden one, but I don't cheat that much. Mine's shorter.
Well, this was a tool handle that I already had. I didn't do anything but pull it out and put it on there. One other thing I have done, any of the tool handles I've made, that is metric. It's the same thing that fits in my chuck. And I have drilled out any holes that came in the wrong size. I drill them back out and put the one that the standard handle fits on. It's the 4mm handle.
It's almost cheating, you know that.
I know that.
It is a great idea too.
So all of my tools take this same 4mm. Every one of them, it's taking the same 4mm. So
that takes all of the fun out of hunting for Allen wrenches, though.
I know. It makes it boring in the shop anymore.
All right.
But it's worth going ahead, and I think it's a 6mm that's in there. But it's worth going ahead and buying the metric one, buying the tap and tapping it, so they're all the same, so you don't have to run around and find the different ones.
Yeah, I got to say that when Trace was at my house, he put a cheater bar on the back of my tailstock. I love that thing.
Well, it really makes it a whole lot easier to do
Yes,
it.
it does.
Yes, it does.
That's all it takes to tighten it all the way down.
Yep.
If it's in the way, I just pull it up.
Yep. Love it.
So it's really very, very useful.
And that's tips and tricks, and we have them here, folks. You have one, share with us, jump in there and let us know. Now I have it. Scott Hampton says he's got one for making birdhouses.
Hey, there we go. All right. I don't know how I live without this. Del Nish, my wife, got me this book a month ago because I really love making ornaments and birdhouse ornaments especially.
That's a good book.
Yes.
That's
And I've
what got me
always
started.
fought, the thing I've always fought against or had trouble with is being able to finish the top of the roofs or the bottom of the bodies.
Not in the camera.
Here. There we go.
There you go.
So I've always made a tenon here when I reversed it, and then I just parted off with a thin parting tool. Well, my wife got me this book. I didn't invent all this, but I saw that he is making, in the book, he shows how to make mandrels. They come especially handy when you're making a natural edge roof.
Oh.
You can basically get the basic shape done, with the piece in the chuck, and the finish it off and get the top done. Use a mandrel there. And because I like to put a chimney in the roof of these mushroom boxes, when I drill through, I always hit the mandrel. So what I do is I mark a hole or a mark where the first drill bit went in, and that way I know where to line this up, and I'll always hit that mark, and I won't drill a whole bunch of holes in the mandrel. And these are great for other ones too, like this one here. So I'm starting to make mandrels for, the bottoms and the tops. And let's see, I got one more right here. So that way this one will have a finial in it. So that way I can turn this around. I've marked all the size drill bits I use for each birdhouse, so I know what size. This will allow me to finish the bottom and put a hole in the bottom for a finial. And I used to have to, what I used to do is I would make the inside wide enough to go over my pin jaws, and then I would open up my pin jaws to hold the bottoms in. And, you know, that you can only go so far with that, because each one's the same size opening. You can't vary the size like this and this anymore. You're just stuck with whatever size that is. So, but with these mandrels, I really like using them. It's opened up a whole new thing for me there. So if you ever end up making birdhouses, these mandrels will save you a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that was the book that got me started making birdhouses.
Oh yeah, I saw some pictures online years and years ago of them, and so I just played around and learned how to do it on my own. I had no idea there's a book on it. I saw it online about a year ago, and I said, one of these days I'll buy that book. And me and my wife were at a woodcraft store, and she saw it on the shelf, so she bought it for me. Said, "You need this."
Show that cover one more time.
How about putting the name in the chat, please?
Oh, it's wood turning Christmas ornaments with Del Nish.
Okay. Nice. Do that print screen.
It's got a lot of pretty neat stuff. And it's not just Del Nish ornaments. There's a lot of other Turners. Cindy Drozda's in here. There's several others. I mean, they show you how to make a segmented ornament besides birdhouses and things in this book. So it's pretty neat. I really like it.
Cool.
All right, somebody click them the share screen that we want talking to. All right.
Okay, I think Bill Goff has something for us here.
Who's that?
Yes.
Bill Goff.
Yeah, well, you were talking about your soft touch, and I got a little version of that I made. This is your live center. I just took I put a tin nut in the bottom, I extended it, and this screws on your. Oops, I'm sorry. This will screw on your live center, but the difference is that instead of making every one of these threaded, your soft touch, they just slide in they just fit. So you only use. I've got a whole stack of different soft touches. I've got like a little foam touch, and they all just go. You got this on your live center. They just slide in. They just oh, that's a different one. That's a different soft touch. But that goes for something else. But this one, they just all slide in. So I got all these different sizes and whatever.
Wow.
And you don't have to make threads in each one. You make one thread, and it was support it with a collar or with a when you was talking about soft touches, I thought, well, I'll share mine. This is what I made.
Nice.
That's a good project. It really is.
And it's once you do it, you don't have to make threads for all these little pieces. It's done. That's all I got that I'm ready to show. I got some other stuff I thought about after watching everybody else, but I don't have pictures of it. So maybe next time.
All right. Thank you.
This is a little hole. Okay. Like your, I got your Allen wrench there, and that's that's the same one I use for when I want to lock my my tailstock. So that's how you tighten it, put it on, take it off. So yeah, that's the whole thing.
All right.
That is nice idea. And y'all pay attention. He put his stuff in a plastic bag to keep track of it. That's the real hot spot here.
Yeah. Yes. It goes right with it. Right.
All right.
Thank
you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Well, we're rolling along here tonight, folks. Rolling along. If you've got something to share, if it worked for you, and give us a chance. Let us see if it works for us. And we're doing that now. Before we pop it to somebody else, I want to show you that we have other demonstrations coming up. And an idea on the Birdhouse thing may work in really good with the demonstration we have coming up on November 16th. That's when Birdhouse Bob Moffett does a demonstration for us. Well, take a look here. Bob Grinstead's up, Doug Miller, Dane Chandler himself is going to be here for that. The Birdhouse Challenge is November 23rd, and grumpy old Mark Soleil joins us on November 30th. So that's our current lineup. And I mentioned that so you know what's coming. But number two is there's some open spots after that, a few open spots. If you'd like to do a demonstration for us, jump in, say I want to do a demonstration, put it in the chat. Dane's out of town right now, but he's watching it. He's keeping track of it. And I tell you what, he will be looking for you if you come up with something really good. This show tonight and tips and tricks. Tom Rooney put that book link up. It's an Amazon.com link if you'd like to go there and find it. Appreciate Bill for sharing that with us. And who do you have? Brenda, you have somebody else up?
Did we just do Bill Louch?
No, I don't think.
Hello?
Did we?
Hello?
Talk to us, Bill Gouch. There he is.
Hello?
What you got?
Okay, couple things, a couple gallery items. First one is a bit of white cedar that's dyed raspberry inside. Hard to deal with because the cedar is so soft that you lean a little hard with the sandpaper and you produce a gouge. Anyway, the other one is from Dane's not on, I think, tonight, but this is from a demo or a video that he did. This is a piece of Kentucky coffee tree.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's very pretty.
Yeah. With the bark is more or less intact and
nice,
great fun. And what I was going to suggest it for people who, you know, when you're holding, you want to hold something and you need a chuck. You're looking at $250 Canadian for a new chuck. This is a way of doing it for $20. Particularly if you're trying to hold something small. I use this for turning fruit, apples and pears and such. And so it's just got a small faceplate, which I use lots of faceplates, and you can get a faceplate for about $20. A little bit of hardwood leftovers, it's not scrap, leftovers from something, screwed down. You put it on the lathe, you find the center, which is pretty easy to do on the lathe. Drill a little hole in it, put the screw in from the other side, and now you've got a way of holding something that doesn't have a whole lot of chuck in the way of working with it. And you can replace a $250 chuck with a $20 faceplate.
Cool.
And keep changing it if you cut into it or one.
That's right.
One faceplate works for multiple chucks.
Yeah, and I mean, I regularly replace the screw with a smaller one or a bigger one, depending on what I'm doing.
And I gotta say, my warning to folks: if you do this, that is not a drywall screw.
No.
Do not use drywall screws for anything on your lathe at all.
Yeah.
They're too brittle.
Yeah.
Not to have anything against the drywall industry, but they're just too brittle.
Yeah.
Good.
So, okay, and that's it.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Let's go
Great
to
sharing.
Neil Mack.
There he is.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. My tip is about maybe reversing a hollow form to turn the bottom. I'm going to turn my camera around. So let's say you had a hollow form. You wanted to mount it to turn the bottom. What I do is took a bolt and I cut it to fit in my taper.
And it's a standard 3/4 10 bolt.
And it's a standard 3/4 10 bolt. And you just chuck it up in the chuck and it centers the piece very easily. And you can turn the bottom if you so wish.
That is such a nifty idea.
Thank you. That's my tip for today.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Do you have
Thanks,
to use,
Neil.
do you have to use tailstock support on that?
I'm sorry.
Do you use tailstock support on that? You have to use tailstock support
Yes,
on
I
that?
do. That's correct. I would
Okay,
use
thank you.
a soft touch.
Gotcha.
Right now, I have a point in there, but I would use a soft touch.
Because then if you make contact, you haven't hurt your tools.
Correct.
I get a lot of this. I had a PM said, what the hell is a soft touch? Pardon my language, but it is just a way to hold. There he is. There it is right there. And if you make contact with that, you've made contact with wood. And if you ruin it, you drill another one, tap it, and go again. And those 3/4 tin taps are available at Ace Hardware stores, made by Hansen, HANSCN. It's in their standard lineup. I didn't say the big box stores. I said your local Ace Hardware.
And you could take the point out. You could put a dowel in there for a soft touch.
Oh yeah.
There's many ways to do it.
Yeah. It's all versatile. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you sharing that with us tonight.
Nice.
You're welcome.
And let's go to yes, that's cool too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You want? Who are you going to go talk to Jim? Or what? I think you need to talk to Sue. Sue needs to talk to you.
Hi guys.
Safety Sue's with us tonight. What you got?
Yeah. Well, I was going to talk about morse tapers and keeping them clean, but you've already covered that, which is a good thing. But let's talk about Jacob chucks. You know, you can put it in your live center, and it's because you're using it, it's not going to come out on you. But unless that Jacob's chuck has the ability to put a drawbar on it, you could not put it in the front in your drive center or the you know what I'm talking.
Headstock.
Yeah, the headstock. Thank you. So make sure if you've got something like that you're going to be using, that it takes a drawbar. You can get screwed bar at any of the big box stores. My favorite is still Ace Hardware. I love that store. I come out, they love me too. So, but what I'm saying is that, like, now my Jacob's chuck, I got it for the tailstock. Never even thinking that I would ever want it or need it for the headstock. So I went and I did get a Jacob's chuck for my headstock that is a 1 inch by 8 TPI. So I'm sure they have them for 1 1/4 inch, 8 TPI, but to be on the inexpensive end, get one Jacob's chuck that can fit both. And this week I came across something, and I was looking online like the rest of us do. And I was looking at this one place, and it's called Wood Turners Wonders, LLC. And it's because they were talking about a product that when used, that you could even grind copper on that wheel and clean the wheel with PB Blast. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to mess up my wheel, but I did get a tube of their Wonder Slick Stick, and I tried it on my bed wedge today, and oh my gosh, did it make a difference. I couldn't believe what kind of difference it made. It's also good for hand planes and all that good stuff. It said to put it on one side of your bandsaw blade, but it did say to put a very teeny amount on your CBN wheel, and I'm talking teeny. As it's rolling, just hit it really fast and it's over. And you're not going to hit the whole thing, you're going to hit the edge. They do have videos on their site that shows about this and how they clean wheels with PB Blaster, in case you make a mistake and grind soft metal on it. But what I realized, because I was doing some sharpening of skews, and I was kind of changing the profile. And I couldn't believe, you know, how you're holding your tool on the platform and it can get warm. It can get hot. Didn't have any problem with it. Yes, it got warm, never did get hot. And I got, because I was able to hold it down the whole thing and go back and forth with it. I even put this on the platform so that I didn't get any sticking on the platform. And I got the best grinds I've ever gotten. I'm not trying to sell this stuff, guys. I'm just telling you what I found out today. So take it for what it is. And if you want me to put it on chat, I can. But
Would you please? But I see the green shirt and the green cap. Is there a logo on your shirt we shouldn't see?
Yeah, it says wash me.
But so you are absolutely right. Slipstick works fantastic.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Have you tried it on CBN wheels?
Yes, I have. It keeps them from clogging up.
Yeah.
It helps them not to clog.
But yeah, I'll put it in the chat. I was amazed at how the tools did not heat up like they normally do. So yeah, I'll put it in there. And it's not that expensive, less than 13, 14 bucks for the thing. It's not expensive at all.
Okay, Sue, you mentioned a minute ago, put it on your bandsaw blade. Now, Scott Hampton threw a note out here, put it on the outside of the blade that doesn't touch the drum wheel. You don't want to do it on the inside of the blade. So as you're looking at the blade, 90% of the time it's on the right-hand side, you would put the stick, not the inside or the left side.
Right, goes on the outside of the blade, and I'm sorry I didn't say that. But thanks, Scott, I'm glad you did. Yeah. And other than anything else, guys, be safe this week. Hope to see you next week, and good luck.
All right, Sue, thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. And that's Safety Sue out of Tampa, Florida for us, folks. And if you've got something to add to that, please do so. Remember, we do it safely. We talk about it because that's what we believe in. We ask our demonstrators to take off their watches and their rings, wear a shield, and we ask them to do that because we want to teach you the right way. We don't want to show you a shortcut that might get you hurt or get somebody else hurt. And that's the key here. We have some tips and tricks that we're doing tonight. And right now, you got another one lined up?
Yeah, let's go back to Jim.
Oh, back to Jim.
Okay.
Back to Jim.
Let me see here.
Should be prepared.
On that lubricant, make sure when you're spraying lubricant around, you don't have any on your hand when you touch your next piece, because otherwise you'll have the fingerprints and it just is beautiful to you. We've been talking about, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is my Morse taper jig. I make a lot of Morse tapers. I've got dozens of them. And this is the actual dimensions from a Morse taper. So that 0.7 is actually, Morse taper is a patented, or was a patented item. And this is the actual dimensions for a Morse taper. When you turn it out of wood, it's nice to have a center one, which is nothing but more than the average between the two. But they work beautiful. And if you make one out of wood and you put it in here, you glue this on here first to this big piece of wood. And then you put your Morse taper against there, set this against here, glue it on, put a couple of pins in it if you like. But then you've got the shape of the Morse taper. Morse taper goes to here. That little end on the end, that's the automatic knockout. You don't need that if you're using it on the headstock. It's kind of nice on the tailstock, but it's probably, I don't know, 5/16 of a smaller diameter. It just hits the back of the retractor.
What was that?
I don't know where I'm going here. Holy smokes. These are my Morse tapers. There's cups. This one was made, this was a specialty one to go down into a cup to turn it, a cup shape. A lot of times I'm turning like bud vases. So this is a great drive. You put this in the headstock and you drill the block, whatever you're going to make a bud vase out of, turn it around. And this is probably a 5/8 shaft. Usually I have it written on here. You can see it written on there. But usually this is the same size as whatever holds in my bud vase. And this is a 2-part one. That's for production work, but I have no idea how these are going to come up. I'm not doing good on this tonight. Oh, this is a number 2 Morse taper with a flat end on it, a disc glued on the end. It has a small taper, but then it has this disc on the end with a piece of inner tube. This doesn't rotate, but it's really nice. You jam it in your tailstock. And then when you're turning something big on here and you need something, either push against it with a lathe off. This will push against it, or it makes a great break. You can have a big piece on here or something, and you want to stop and drill a hole in it. You stick this in there and jam it against the end, and it's dead stop. That's a wonderful tool. I use that a lot. This thing here is a number 2 Morse that has a 5/8 hole in it, I think. And this is a cap that fits against the tailstock with a 5/8 hole in it. This makes a buffing wheel. All you do is put the buffing wheel on here and put the cap against it, tighten it up, and you can buff. It makes a cheap buffing wheel real quick. You can put a buffing wheel on. You buy these buffing wheels with a 1-inch arbor instead of making 5/8. This is one I had kicking around, but instead of a 5/8 hole, use a 1-inch hole, make a 1-inch arbor for this thing. And you can put, I think Harber Freight has these for $4 a piece or something. Make, you get 3 or 4 of them, use them for different waxes or whatever. But you can put it in your lathe real quick. In 2 minutes, you got a buffing wheel. With a 5/8 arbor, you can also put a grinding wheel on there. It's okay for sharpening lawnmower blades or something, but it's kind of nice because you can set the speed down to 400 RPM or whatever you want and do a real nice grinding job. Anyway, that's it for me.
Print screen. Got it. Oh, darn.
Did I do it?
No, I did it. I didn't get the print screen on that jig that you put up there for making the number 2 Morse taper.
You want it again? Should I do that again? Okay.
I'll draw it out. It was just my fault, man.
Here, I can run this. There you go.
Okay, print screen.
You can get the dimensions. Just look up Morse taper. But like I say, that end is, you don't need that, but that end is the automatic knockout, or you retract and it knocks it out. Got it?
Did you get that then?
Yeah, sorry, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
I muted it so I wouldn't talk.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Jim.
Very much. Good luck with it.
Brenda.
Okay, I got a couple of things I use. I've been muted myself. Okay. I went to a big box store and bought a chair leg tip, put a 3/4 inch bolt inside, use that for a soft touch. And I think you get them in packs of 4, so I got some gave some to my buddies too. and that works real well.
Now
Or you can
that's
take-
a chair tip, and you put a 3/4 tin nut in there, right? Correct?
I just slid it in there. Fits right in, no problem. Or you can use a golf ball. I feel that's the most useful thing for a golf ball.
That's true.
I tried playing golf once, and that didn't go well. Then I make some bottle stoppers, and this is one a jig I made from just a piece of wood I had laying around, and a piece of a copper pipe fitting, and a 3/8 inch bolt, and I drilled that. And this matches the outside of the chrome bottle stoppers, and you can use it in your chuck, and you can also tilt it to do an offset bottle stopper. And I've got one that I made for a 8mm bolt for a bottle stopper. And this is the same diameter as the bottom of one of those chrome bottle stopper bottoms, or the roof tile bottle stopper bottom. And then
Say
for
that 3
buffing-
times real fast.
Do what?
Say that 3 times real fast.
Okay.
Bottle stopper bottom.
Then for buffing, instead of having a separate buffing station set up, I took a faceplate, a couple pieces of plywood, and a 3/4 inch bolt, and a washer, and I just put it on my lathe. I got a variable speed buffer, and I used that for a long time. And I thought, well, I wanted something a little deeper, so I just made one and epoxied in a 3/4 inch bolt. Just put that in my chuck and put my buffing wheel on here, and I'm ready to go. And I don't have a lot of room, so instead of having another machine sitting around to go to, I just use my lathe, and I got a variable speed buffer, and that works real well.
That's not nifty.
And this was just a piece of oak that I had left over from making something else. It wasn't a piece of scrap, because it was a piece waiting to become an artistic creation.
Exactly.
Awaiting artistic creation. That's all right.
That's right.
You got that from Kim. You got that from Kim Tippin, I can tell.
And with this, when I'm coming around with a bow, if I hit the wood, it doesn't hurt anything. So it works real well for buffing. And that's what I got.
All right, Birdhouse Bob. He's going to be with us a couple of weeks to do a demonstration. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I want to throw a comment in here. Somebody earlier showed us a blower to clean up around the shop, and I apologize, I don't do names very well. But I looked at Harbor Freight just now, and it's a Bauer, B-A-U-E-R, heavy duty guaranteed, and it sells for like $50. And it's available here. It says available online by November 1st. It's $50. All the 3 speeds, control, variable speed, trigger, and all, battery powered. It's a nifty tool. I don't think I can get this item number and throw it on the chat. I'm trying to, but it may not let me do it. But that's what we saw earlier this evening. As always, we find things on Amazon and Harbor Freight that we just can't live without. If you got something to show for the gallery tonight, or a tip or a trick, yes. Let's see it. Let's hear about it. I have to get my stolen. Okay, I gotta watch that. All right, we're losing Jim Selby. He's got to be out for the evening, so we miss you. And I heard Tim Hatch wasn't going to be with us tonight. He had some company in town and didn't think he'd make it back from the meeting, but he'll catch us on a rebound and see us again next week. If you got something to show this place to show it, we're talking worldwidewoodturners.org, and that's our website, worldwidewoodturners.org, the finest wood turning website in the entire world. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you the truth. Dave does our website, and it is the finest wood turning website in the entire world. If you'd like to send a photograph of the work you've done, you've completed, the stuff you want to brag on, one you're proud of, the ones you want to show folks your techniques, your abilities, your style. They're never scored. We do not have a system to score anybody's work. I wouldn't dare be a critique on somebody else's work. It comes from your heart. How can I critique what comes out of your heart? So we don't critique it. If you show me it, send me a photograph of what you've turned, what you like to show. I'm going to show it to the entire world without hesitation. I believe that's the way we have to grow. And if you want to do so, you can email your photographs to me at worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. That's the mailing address that I check. And I'm telling you, I'm avoiding communication right now. A series, I'm trying to heal. And I'm avoiding, but I do check that. And I'll take a few minutes and post it up as a promo, which our gallery now is no longer in our newsletter, which was all gallery. We put all that information in our promos as soon as I get enough photographs to fill up a promo. And I've gotten some really great looking stuff. If you haven't seen them, they're all available on our YouTube channel. They're all available on our Facebook channel. And if you'd like to have one directly sent to you, just ask me for it and I'll send you a copy of it. I like the idea of us sharing information like tonight. Gerald Jensen said he found that cordless 96 miles per hour jet fan blower at Harber Freight. That's in the chat tonight. And like Donald in Australia tells us, save the chat before you get out of here, because that's where you're going to find all the information on things. And you know, like Scott Hampton's got an IRD coming up. It's a part 4 of his natural wood snowman demonstration. The information for that IRD is in our chat right there. I'm looking at it. See it right there.
For the second time.
What second time?
Did I do it 2 times? I'm sorry. I didn't realize I did.
All right.
I must have done it earlier today.
All right. But hey, that's not a problem. We're here to share information. Chat is wide open, free. You can put anything you want in the chat, to be honest, be fair, be nice. But if you have an event like this, you send it to our webmaster. We have an events calendar on our website. That's right. And we'll tell you about everybody's IRD, demonstration, program, symposium, tips, tricks, catalogs, whatever. Send it to us. Upcoming events are all welcome right there because it's a chance to share information. And if you got a tip or a trick, let's hear about it. Bob Moffett says he uses a 600 grit wheel that puts a great edge on the tool. You know, Bob, a guy that I used to I was schooling here for a while. He came in one night. He had a faceplate he made out of a piece of plywood. Now, it wasn't 3/4 plywood or whatever from Home Depot to big stores. This was a piece of cabinet grade plywood, which are probably 13 or 15 segments, layers, but it was 3/4. They use a different size, 11/16 or whatever. Needless to say, it was a very stable piece of plywood, and he put a nice tenon on the back of it, and he had it to receive his faceplate, his chuck, real nice. On the face of that, he had crocus cloth. When I asked him what that was, he said crocus cloth. I remember that when I was making jewelry out of rings and stuff when I was a kid. To polish out a piece that you filed out and sanded out and everything else, you would take crocus cloth, and it's available at the hardware store and the auto parts store, and you'd polish it out. And he put that piece on the chuck, and would take his skew, and you got to understand the way it turns. You want to be sharpened. You turn away from you, so you don't go to the top. You go to the bottom of the wheel. When you place it, he would take his skew, place it against that, make one pass, and that thing be so sharp it'd cut razor blades. It was really a nifty idea, and I thought, well, why don't we see that? Because it's one of those things you make in your shop that's so easy. big boxes and the other stores can't run with you. It's like that green weenie thing. Somebody's going to come up with how to make that green weenie thing in a 3D printer, or just make an injection mold for it. Mine doesn't have a name on it. That's why I wonder why it didn't move along. Is if this is all they made, it probably would have died in the field.
Yeah, they call them taper mates, but was the actual name for them.
Taper mate, okay. You know, when I retire, I'm going to get a job at a paint company naming paint colors. It's got to be easy work, you know. Whatever comes to mind. All right, got a few minutes left, folks. If you want to jump in and share something with us, please do so. All right, Terrell Brace. Terrell, can you ask this question live and direct? Terrell, I see he had a question for us. He's looking for recommendations on a slow speed grinder to put a CBN wheel on for sharpening his tools. Also the setup system for it. All right. I had, and it might still be on my website because I've taken a lot down. I had a tips and tricks page, and I had the setup information on that page for David Ellsworth, right from David, on how to set up your 247 to do the elliptical grind, but it also helps you with setting up your jigs for doing other grinds. But you said a slow speed grinder to put a CBN wheel on for sharpening his tools. You know, last year I lost my shop in the Hurricane Ida. And it's still not all cleaned up, but I lost the shop on it. I moved some tools inside, and I think you can see it over there, across the shop over here. Where's my finger? That right there. That's my GR450 Delta grinder. Right back there. Got a computer block on the side of it. That's my GR450. And I've got 2 or 3 other grinders. That came in, and it's got a variable speed on it. It goes from, I guess, 1340 to 2800 or something like that. And I always used it on the lower speed. It was in here, and I used it for a couple of weeks in the shop when we moved the shop into the house. And I went to turn up the speed for something one day and realized the speed controller got wet in Hurricane Ida. And the speed controller wasn't working. It defaulted to the high range. So I've been sharpening tools on my CBN wheel on high range. I haven't hurt the wheel, and I'm not hurting my tools because, get this, my CBN wheel, and that means can't be nicer CBN, is made just to sharpen tools, not to shape them. I'm going to shape my tools in either carbon or a regular wheel or some other way, belt sander or whatever. But when I want to sharpen them, I want to go to that 600 or whatever grit CBN wheel, because all I'm looking to do is fine off the hair. That's all. I don't want to change the shape of the tool. If you keep changing the shape of the tool, you're just throwing your tool on the floor. Tool makers love that. But don't throw the shavings on the floor. Leave them there and polish them off using the CBN wheel. Bob Moffett says Rycon's got a slow speed grinder on sale this month for $150. And Brenda says she's got one, no problem. So I have a Delta and I have a Porta Cable. And if you don't see the label, you can't tell them apart. And I bought them at the big box store. So, and I bought them on sale. So I got, same way. I'm right along with you folks, but if I can build it, I can make it, I can save on it, I sure will. We take gallery tonight also. If you got something to show, just say I've got something to show. You can put it in the chat. We'll all see it, and we'll cover that. Anybody have any other items on tap tonight? We got a little bit to go. We normally pull the plug at 9 o'clock. We're supposed to pull at 8 o'clock, but we go to 9 o'clock Central Time. And we haven't seen Professor Rowe drop in tonight. I can't look at my list of who's in, who's out right now. But Doug Rowe's normally with us. That's Professor Rowe.
He's not there.
He's not there?
No.
Randall's got a pen he could show.
Randall, what you got? There he is.
I have a ghost pen. I did not intend to make it. It just showed up when I turned it. Let me share my screen.
Go ahead, please.
This is my ghost pen.
Get out of town, Brenda. Look at that.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. I like that.
I did not intend to do that. They just showed up when I turned the pen.
Yeah, that's
Well,
your
what do you
story. You're
see,
sticking to
Brenda?
it.
A little smile even. Little smile. That is cute.
I like
Anyway,
that.
that's it.
That's cool.
Looks like he's even blowing smoke across the bottom of it.
Yeah.
All right. Joaquin's got something for us. He just got in.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I took him out of, put him back on spotlight from me, please.
Well,
I got him. Now he's up. There he is.
Okay. All right. Y'all was doing tips and tips, I understand. Here's a store-bought one. It's King Arthur Guinevere. You seen anything like this? It's a sanding device. And it's got a little rubber air bubble that you put air in it. You insert your little sanding form on there. Then you blow it up with air, and that's used for sanding inside of a bowl or whatever.
And how much pressure you put on it depends on how dense it'll be.
Yes, and it doesn't have an air valve. It's just this little, how tight you tighten the nut here. It's like a little flange on both sides of the lip of the rubber. But I didn't buy this, but a mentor gave it to me. He decided to quit, 95 years old, decided to give up wood turning. And this is one of the items I got from him. But it's pretty interesting. I haven't used it yet. But I was pretty amazed last Friday night. I'm in a gallery called Padre Island Art Gallery, and they have this sip and shop. It's unbelievable. They've got all kind of mixed drinks and wine and all that stuff. You come in there and shop. And I told them I'd come out there and demo, and I grabbed old Glenn Dornack, and we went out there and demoed. And I had a table full of trees and these the birdhouses. This is a birdhouse I've just made, but I had 3 birdhouses out there on a rack. And they come up there, what are you going to do with them? I said, well, I'm going to enter them in the gallery and sell them. Well, can I have one now? I sold all 3 of them, bam. And I couldn't believe, even the money that they'll pay for these little things. Now I've got orders for about 5 more of them. I don't know. I was wondering, Bob, I think he's really big into birdhouses, what his market is for these birdhouses. And I was wondering if we could talk about, what do you get for these? Or what can you get for them? Anybody?
Bob, you there?
I sell mine for usually about $40 each.
Yeah. Well, I told him $50. He says, give me 2 of them.
You probably got a higher class. You're probably in a higher class area than I am.
I mean, I'm like, you got to be kidding. Who would pay that much money for a little ornament like that?
Yeah.
That's I get the same amount. That's what I get. I get 40 or $45 for them.
Yeah. I planned on putting $45 on them, but I just popped off $50. I was joking around. And she says, give me 2 of them.
I get like 40 and above.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get $40 and above depending on the type of wood I'm using and how much work I've put into them. So my simple ones go for 40. If it's got a real ornate finials or roof or something in there, it's upwards $60, $70 sometimes.
Well, there's nobody else down here that has them in a gallery, and they're hot right now down here.
Oh, they're real big where I live. I sell out. I bring in like 50 at my annual craft fair, and I always sell out of them. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I've always done real good on Christmas trees, and that's coming up, and I guess I'm going to be making some more birdhouse.
Well, tell you what, speaking of birdhouses, we're going to have a little birdhouse demonstration coming up, and I got to pop over and get you off the spotlight. And I'm trying to do this, and then I'm going to put me on the spotlight. And whoa, I lost it. I should. Oh, well, trying to work this out. Here we go. Now this should come up as our future demonstration list. Look down, November 16th. Bob Moffett's going to be with us. Bob's going to talk about birdhouses. That's right. So there you go, Joaquin.
All right, that'll be good.
Yeah, one-on-one conversation with Bob Moffett. Birdhouse Bob's going to be with us.
Talk to Joaquin. I need to go up on the price of mine.
Hey,
wow.
You know, that's what we learn about. You know, a lot of our turners, a lot of our members do the craft sales, the art shows and such. And we all should share the information. We're not in competition. We're really, I mean, it's not like Bob's going to show up at my art fair and steal all my business. That's not going to happen. I'll shoot Bob if that happens.
They'll probably go from North Carolina to Texas to get Joaquin's now.
well, my deal is I don't want to go home with them, you know. So what's the market price to get rid of them? That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
There's only one other wood turner that goes to the same craft fair I do, and he sells something totally different. He sells like hollow forms and, you know, the real big bowls and things like that. And for my craft fairs, it's mostly all holiday stuff, ornaments mostly, but I'll make some kitchen items and things like that. But it's mostly trees, snowmen, ornaments like you wouldn't believe. So he's really no competition. In fact, we're friends. So it's like he sells the bowls and stuff, and I do all the Christmas stuff, and it's always been that way. So,
well, I think you do better at craft fairs selling smaller things than you do bigger things.
Oh, you do. You know, he's real happy if he'll sell $150 bowl, and he's excited for the whole year, and I'll sell like $1,000 worth of ornaments.
Well, that's what I find. Most people don't have room. Most people don't have room for a big item to set on their shelf. They got so much stuff that they go for the small bowls and the small items.
Yeah.
Well, and people look for gifts too, and the birdhouses are a real good gift for people to give to other people.
I have people that collect them, and they come back every year to see what kind of new birdhouses I've come up with because they want to put them in their collection.
Yeah,
those are great customers to have.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They always buy 4 or 5 of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, another item that should sell really well are things you can have on your desk at work. We all want to have our little something there to take our mind off of work. My big seller was doing ornamentals with something small. Big pieces just didn't click. But if you gave them something rather small, like a little, I call them salt cellars that would be decorated inside and out, those items were unique.
Well, and
Was that walking?
one of the things that I do,
pencil cups sell well.
Yep. And one of the things that I do is I make those little tchotchke bowls out of leftover wood. That's, you know, after I turn something big, you've got some stock sitting in the chuck. Just make a little bowl or a little vase or something with whatever's left. It doesn't have to be anything special. Even, it doesn't have to be hollow. You just have to drill it out or whatever. People love that.
Just small little things that'll sit on the desk that hold little items that people really like to go with that.
This time of year, I'm doing ornaments, and I do very, very well with ornaments. My birdhouses and the primary one I sell, and I will do between $5,000 and $7,000 worth of ornaments.
Wow.
Between $25 and $35 a piece, but I have people come in and spend a couple $100 on them at a time.
Well, I don't know if I want to work that hard.
Year and everything. Well, I'm challenged to make sure I spend the money to keep this as a hobby, so I have to spend more than I actually take in. So it goes to a tool investment.
That's a good way to explain it. Yes. Now you have to consider this: if they're a grandparent, they can't buy one.
Yeah.
Always got to say that. You have one for all your grandkids, you know, great push. My dad was an Austin salesman. That's the first thing we say is, you're buying one. What about the other kids? What are they going to do?
That's why I always make a big supply of magic wands and spin tops.
Oh, I know a guy that used to pay his booth rent with spin tops.
Yeah.
Because he'd put them all out there for $1 a piece. He could turn 100 a day, and that'd pay his booth rent.
I gotta tell you, man, I got one of my own tops sitting on my desk at home, and I spin it a lot. It's fun.
It's like a fidget.
Yes.
If you do spin tops, do a platter with an edge up on it, so when the kids want to look at it, they spin it. It's right there. It doesn't hit the floor.
Yeah.
Or anything else. And
I used my bowls the last time. In my last craft show, I just used my bowls.
Sure.
Yeah.
I created a platter like that, but I put a round mirror inside. So when they spin it, it really spins like crazy.
I bet.
That's a cool idea.
We're down to about 5 minutes, and we got a couple more folks that have something to share with us. Hey, Matt, you've got some gnomes, I think, to share.
Yeah, and I've not done this before from my phone, so let me see if it'll let me do this here. Oh yeah, okay. So any of you guys who are on my Facebook have seen these guys.
Yeah.
But these are some gnomes I made the other day with different color beards, natural edge hats. The noses and the little doohickey thingy on the top of the hats, they're all made from shop lumber, from 2x4 pine.
What do you get for those, Matt?
$45 a piece.
Okay.
They're 6 inches tall.
Redheads to come.
Yeah, redheads to come. That's right.
Can I ask, are gnomes hot this year? Because I know last year that people went crazy for them. I sold a whole army of them, but I haven't heard anything about. I haven't seen really anything online about them so much this year.
It's the most watched video I have.
There are a bunch of people who are making them. So I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, Rebecca DeGroot made one, made some. Yeah, these are the only 4 I have unsold, and I made them like Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. So they sell fast. So
okay. I just wasn't sure how the market was this year on them, so I'll make some more of that.
Well,
yeah.
Keep in mind,
mind.
versatility and presentation is what'll sell them. You can't have 50 gnomes that look alike on a table. That won't work.
None of mine look alike. They all have different kinds of hats, different colored beards, everything. So.
Well, yeah, but don't ever, if you're putting them out on a table, you know, this goes for anything, not just gnomes. Just don't put 20 out or 30 out. Put 5 out, and then when those 5 sell, put 5 more out. You know.
Yeah, that's what I do. I have a nice display. It holds like maybe 6 or 7, and then when I sell 2 or 3, I'll get 2 or 3 more out and put them out. Because when people see a whole bunch of the same thing, they think they're not selling, and nobody wants them.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, we've got about 3 minutes left. Terry's iPad.
Yeah, it looks like you found me already. I've been a little busy. I haven't done a lot this week, but I did our learning term last weekend. I made another, where am I? A little executive type top. Just make a little box with a good fitting lid. And looks like kind of like an apple.
That's what I was going to say. It looks like an apple.
Set on your desk. Put something in it. Set on your desk and play. But
I think he's copying what Sue turned last week. That's it.
Yeah. I showed a few birdhouses last week, and Bob and everybody's making birdhouses for all kinds of specialties and making hummingbird and all this. And I thought, well, what can I make? Well, we live down here on the coast, and what we get down here in our annual migration is snowbirds. So I thought maybe I'd make a snowbird house. So I made it a little bigger so we could have it all. And then I turned around and I made a little snowbird house.
I like that.
A couple little
That's cute.
The wife was in there making dinner, and guys out here sitting here. I made a little turf to put on the table, but I couldn't make one small enough because it was as big as the table. Then I put a Christmas ornament type bottom on it and the hanger, and then I can't set it on a table. And I almost went out before the things were over and sanded it off so it could also be on the table. But what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to put a couple little feet on it here, one on each corner, and then it'll set on anything I want it to set on, or I can hang it.
There you go.
But,
That's a good
So
idea.
you could add those little rubber bumper things that you put on the insides of cabinets to keep them from banging into the wood.
Yeah, anything I can put on there. I just thought maybe I'll set it on the table, but it's kind of fun to do.
That's cute.
The umbrella,
Neat
the umbrella
idea.
top is part of a cupcake paper. I glued it on a toothpick. It was kind of a trick to make the umbrella, but anyway, that's my birdhouse collection for the week.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
nice. I
Terry.
like that.
Everybody said that everybody told me I might be in trouble because nobody would know what a snowbird was. But most of the people I know what snowbirds are.
Yep, that we do.
Yeah.
Now,
Hey,
if
Terry.
you don't- if you don't want to make that base permanent, turn a little ring like a bracelet. It's just the right size to set down on.
Yeah, I had it set on a little ring. I got a whole bunch of little knobbies, just little knob like a plug for putting in a hole up against something or covering up a hole with a screw in it. And I think I could just make a little tiny plug with a little foot on the bottom of it and put one on each corner, and it would look okay, and then it would still set.
Yep.
Because now it can't set. Now you have to hang it.
Maybe set them back a little from the edge so you can't really see them when it's sitting on the table.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll do something. I
Nice.
almost sanded it off, but then I decided, no, I'll leave it on there.
Well,
So
pretty
that's pretty
stuff.
much all I did.
Great idea, sir. You're running right along with Bayou Bob on his birdhouse stuff. And
everybody laughing at me.
it's what? Anybody else immediately, Doug?
I got nothing.
Nothing. Okay. All right. It's about that time. We had a good time. We shared a lot of information. I got about 100. Whoa, wait.
Witnessing to the undesirables.
Hey, Joaquin.
Yes.
Joaquin got something to talk about? Joaquin, do you, sir? No, he's muted. I guess not. Okay. It's about a minute after pulling a plug time, folks. Tell you what, you folks, these meetings make my week. I really, really appreciate this. We've been in a couple of years, and I think we get better by the day. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, be in with us, please just jump in and do so. If you're going to be part of the club, you're part of the club. And that's all it takes is to be involved, to enjoy yourselves, to share information from one another, and to better what we do. And I appreciate you and everybody that you invite to come along with us. And in fact, I ask one thing of you: invite a friend for next week's program. That's all I ask. It's because the more brains, the more ideas. On behalf of worldwidewoodturners.org, me and all my co-hosts and all my members, thank you for coming in tonight. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, save the chat. And like Safety Sue says, be safe. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Taking my job, Eddie.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, with that, we're out of here. Bye-bye.